Hey everyone, Sawmill Charlie. Well, it's Friday and it was 55 degrees here today. Hey, Randy and Michael and Rodney and Joseph, Keith, Tim and Hannah, David. I'm going to go ahead and put out the link here. Mitchell. All right, there that is. Yeah, let's see if we can get it pinned today. Yes, there it goes, finally. Trying to get the other screen up properly. Hopefully everybody's had a good week in beekeeping. There we go. Hey, Brian from Colorado. Who's ready for the Bee Expo? I am. Well, I am and I'm not. I really need to get some honey bottled up, especially for you, Brian, and get things cleaned up, get my car ready to roll. It's pretty much done. Try to get that done tomorrow. And Tuesday morning, I am off to Kentucky. So, and all that. So that is what's happening here. Haven't heard too much from Bob from Walker Bee Ranch. I'm kind of wondering whether or not he kind of caught the bug when he was on vacation and all that. We had a good time last night on Ricky Rurick's channel, along with the Dirt Rooster. And Joseph was on there. He won a free dinner. Lucky him. On AMR. And all right, let's see. There's Joseph. Thanks for coming on, Joseph. Joey.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going okay, I guess.
I was having a bad delay in my internet, I guess, last night. Kept cutting out on me and freezing up.
Now there's a guy there. You might is BAU Baroxty Backyard Bees, or can you pronounce that? You're down there in that territory, aren't you?
Where's he at?
He's in Louisiana, southeast Louisiana, right above Mark Miller. Hey, Mark, Darren, Russell. He was back. I was running through the different people who were signing on and everything. But yeah, we had fun last night. Hey, Brian C. Hey, Jack.
And yeah, that was a good chat last night.
Yeah,
you enjoyed it. I tell you, it hadn't really been real cold here compared to some of y'all, but it just felt cold outside all day to me. And
it was 55 degrees.
It was 55 seeing any bees today flying around. As far as coming out of the hives, they looked like they was all hanging inside, but I did see a few in some flower beds.
Right.
At one point.
No, today it was around 55 degrees here in Maryland, and the bees were flying, and for I'll say by midday they were flying for a couple hours, and they they were, like I say, flying like that. And I put some pollen powder out for them, and they took some of it. I could see, I didn't have time to sit around and watch them. I was working, and you could see a little bit of powder residue out on the ground where they had taken it and, started packing their pollen baskets there and grooming themselves. And that kind of thing. And that's pretty much it as far as the bees go. I haven't checked them or anything, and really hadn't had time. As far as food wise, I've fed them quite well. Getting ready for the winter, so I don't think I have an issue right now for that. Maybe in another month, and that kind of thing, and all that. But on all my highs, I think I got 20, I'll say 30 of them out there right now. All of them are flying. So all of them are up and alive, and I'm 100% right now, and that kind of stuff. Here comes Tom. There he is.
Hello, Joey and Charlie.
Hey. So I've seen some photographs on your, I guess it's a Facebook page. You're enclosing your honey house in the end of your building there. Is that what that is?
Yeah, I just came in. The room's almost finished. I just got to fill in some gaps in the ceiling because when we put the loft in back in 19, we pushed it up against the 4x6s. So I got like a 6-inch gap on the back wall that I want to cap off. And that'll be it. Then it'll be time to paint it. I'm going to paint the whole thing to seal it up a little bit.
Right. And now, was that your kind of like your shop area at one time?
Yeah, it's the back of my barn. So my barn's 24 by 40.
Mm-hmm.
So now the honey room will be 8 by about 21.
Now there it is, Joey. He pronounces it Boudrox. Boudrox.
That's probably Birdo. A Boudreaux, maybe?
I don't know. BOO-DROX.
Boudreaux.
Boudreaux?
Yeah.
I presume that's French. I guess. I don't know.
I might be tearing it up a little bit. That's about the way we say it here.
Well, welcome to board. I haven't seen you on our chat, but we're here, and we're a bunch of friendly beekeepers, and we talk about everything and anything, whether it's bee economics or how to make stuff on, how to make creamed honey, or or you got problems in your hive when that time comes around. Hey, Rodney.
How big of a honey room you need?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got what size extractor are you running now, Tom? 12 or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go. I would say at least a 20. You need a 20 at least.
Yeah, maybe. But I didn't have any problem this year doing 1,000 gallons on it. So
1,000 pounds. 1,000.
Yeah, 1,000 pounds.
Right. Well, so, like myself, I have an 18. I did a 1,000 pounds, and all that. And as of, let's see, as of today, my count is at 1,109 pounds of honey sold since the first of the year. So I didn't plan on doing that or anything like that, but it's more honey than I've ever have sold. And that's not going out to any fairs or conventions, or that's just selling it right here at the house. Of course, I do.
Charlie, you see where Boudreaux's Backyard Bees is from? Can you say that name?
Heavens no. Ty Boudreaux.
Thibodeau.
Huh?
Thibodeau.
Backyard Bees.
Thibodeau.
Louisiana. Okay. Well, okay. I don't know much about that. I'd be like, Be terrible if I go down that way and
Hmm.
everything's spelled that way.
We've
But
got a lot of comments already.
Mhm.
Catching up a little bit.
what's that,
Yeah.
Tom?
I was just trying to catch up on all the comments.
Oh, okay. And we're
Yeah, all of a sudden
already up to
I was out in
64
the
people.
honey house going, oh shoot, it's 8 o'clock already.
I may try to get more honey this next year. I may focus on a little more honey. I usually uh, just focus on the selling the nukes, and then whatever beehives is left to
Hey,
make a little honey for me. But
hey,
I may
Dan.
get back to focus on honey because I'm going to run out. A
Well,
couple
that's
more
my
weeks, I'm going to
plans.
run out.
That's my plans. Since I've sold 1,100 pounds this year, I think one of the reasons was there was a fellow right up the road from me. He took and quit and he directed his customer. Hey, Todd.
Hey, Charlie,
Thank God.
Joey.
Hey,
He directed his customers to me. I do know there's quite a few of them that came in. And my plans is right now I got 12 honey hives. I'm going to go up to 14. I'm going to cut my nukes back from 20 to 16. And that way I can still sell at least 10 nukes. I have at least 10 nukes for myself as far as insurance hives or resource hives. And then I'm going to try to, my goal for next year is to get as close to 100 pounds per hive as possible with as long as the weather cooperates, where it doesn't wash the bloom out and everything else. So we'll see. I got 80 pounds per hive this year. If I can
that
get it
must be
next
nice.
year, well, I did a
A
lot of
good,
work. It's a
a
lot of
good
single brood
production
chamber
hive down
management.
here is about 50 to 60 pounds, maybe.
Well, the average here is 50 pounds, but I do the single brood chamber thing and along with the Apis biologic, I think. And when you can get a hive that is tremendously populated for a great big workforce, you can, you can get that higher number of honey. Like I say, I average 30 pounds more than what the state does. So I do well.
I
But
got about 80 per box.
yeah, now like last year they come along and they trim the trees right before the bloom. I mean, that just killed me right there. And this year they didn't do that, and I had a much better year. But I also had queen issues.
Yeah, I live by a high-powered utility line, and it's usually really, really good for summer flowers and goldenrod. And they sprayed it this year. It's like,
Yeah.
oh man,
Yeah, Shane wanted to know if I was going to buy some. I bought 100 pounds from a friend of mine. It's got locust honey just like mine, just for in case. I still have about 600 or 700 pounds that, I had so much. I had a lap over of last year's honey into this year, and along with what I have now. Well, I'm estimating my honey crop will get me to the end of June. By that time, the crop for 2024 will be coming in. So I should have a nice cushion there as far as, not running out. I don't want to run out. So Todd, what's up with you all? I know it's early in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I just well, I've been on vacation last few days, and I just got back from the farm right now, and had to get some things done because we have supposedly a big storm coming in tonight. So need to get things buttoned up to make sure they didn't get wet, and then well, there's pollen still coming in. I put another round of pollen patties on them today too. Next trick is going to be fondant.
Well, now with the pollen coming in there, I mean, I've often noticed when natural pollen comes here, they just refuse to do anything with the pollen patty.
Yeah,
So
they're doing both here. It's weird. I don't know why.
Must be a small amount of pollen, but not enough.
It's not a huge amount, but this is the second time I put on probably 1 pound slabs each round. but I made that recipe that Bob Benny had on one of his videos with one of his friends. I can't remember his name, Roger or
Yeah, Roger he's around Asheville, North Carolina.
yeah,
I think.
yeah,
He's going to be one of the speakers at Nobby.
yeah, and
that'll be one of the speakers I will go see, I think.
Yeah, and I used his recipe just to try it, and I like the texture of it. I haven't had any patties dry out on me. So the weirdest thing though, the only difference I've seen with the patty is that's the first one I've ever made that actually kind of molded on top, just in spots. And I don't know what that's from, but
yeah, Greg Rogers is his name.
Greg Rogers, yeah. And I think the video is about a year old.
Talking about pollen, I've been seeing pollen coming in here, and probably more than normal. And I mentioned it in a chat last week, or I can't remember whose chat I mentioned it in, but I got to thinking, a lot of people around here, deer hunters, put corn out. And I'm just wondering if some of my bees hadn't found their deer corn. Because I know the closest deer stand for me is probably 200 yards from one of my bee yards.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering if they're not, because I've seen them tear corn up before, getting after that corn dust.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks just like pollen. It's kind of a light dull orange color.
Yeah, I
could be
mine are getting yellow, orange, white. I was talking to Bob today, and he said, "Well, maybe the white is from clover." I don't know where it's blooming, but maybe you're right. I know the orange is dandelion because there are actually some dandelions here and there. The yellow, I don't know. And last week I saw bright yellow and kind of dull yellow, and today I only saw dull yellow. So I don't know. But they're getting something.
Yeah.
But they're also taking the pollen patty, which is weird to me. So I don't know. But other than that, that's about it. I know they still have honey on them because I tilted back a couple of boxes, and I'm not as alarmed as I was last week, but they're going to run out at this rate. They're flying every single day, all day. Except tomorrow, it's supposed to rain. So hopefully that calms them down.
You like the rain, right?
Well, we hardly ever get it. So, and it does, if it rains a lot, we get a big honey crop.
Right.
So, I don't know.
You say you talked to Bob Walker today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And is he sick or what?
No, he's been kind of busy. Yeah, actually today he was working late when he called me. So
no, he bailed Tuesday night because he was feeling bad. And
yeah,
I was wondering whether he maybe caught some kind of bug over there at Cherokee.
Yeah, maybe so. He didn't say anything about it, and I forgot to ask him. But he said he's had he's got things going on, so he's taking care of business.
Right.
But
that's fine, Lost. Didn't
yeah, he's all in well.
At work.
Yeah, he's catching up at work. Yeah, he's all right.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Before a big crowd gets on here, I want to mention hive lifters to you again.
Okay.
Last night I've got the B1.
Right.
Mike Derry has the B2.
Yeah.
And what's his name? His name just Nathan.
Nathan, yeah, he's got the
That's the
B3.
B3. There's a difference between Mike's and his. I think it's just in the
Well,
drive.
the B3 has a hydraulic cylinder,
Right.
and Mike's has got like 2 screws, I'll say, inside of a tube
Yeah.
and all. But I don't know. I've watched Mike and I've watched Nathan, and it's about like, okay, you put, let's say, 2 medium boxes on there and look at the weight. And I'm looking at, all right, how much pushing down with the body on them handles does it take to keep it up in the air until you get it to where it's pushing against you, and that kind of a thing. And like yours, it's more like a dolly, I guess you would say. And there we go. Screen just went black for some reason. And so you know, it's like a, what would I like better? You know,
Yeah.
yours,
Or any of the 3, from what I understand, if you pick, like you want to check your brood area, you can pick all the boxes up off of it, and you don't have to back up away from it. You can just, with these 3, you just pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
And mine actually rock back a little bit onto the wheels, but you don't have to move it and relocate it. Same thing on theirs. You just go up and get it out of your way and do what you want to do, and then just set it straight
Because
back.
the original videos from the manufacturer, you could tell that most of them were not loaded as far as weight goes.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff and all that. And you know, it's like everything, you know, when you're spending a couple $1,000, you kind of want to kick the tires a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
And all that. So that was why I've been kind of putting it off. But I might take the chance and just go ahead with a B3 and be done with it and let it go. And all. I bet that's my main thing is to go in and if I got 2 honey supers on there and maybe a brood box up on top, and I can go in there and lift that up and off. And I got thinking about it, you know, different scenarios where, let's say I've got 3 medium honey supers and a brood box up on top. And let's say the bottom, the first honey super next to the queen excluder, that could possibly be partially full. Well, you could take the boxes off of that, get into that one box and see whether it's partially full. And if it needs to be, you can put a new, you know, take that one box off, put a new box on and put that box back on and then set everything back down. Or if you're just trying to get into the brood chamber, go right down to where the box is above the chamber and just, you are kicking the tires for 2 years. Yeah. Okay. And, so anyway, yeah, my foot's getting tired of kicking. And then I could raise all that up and kind of move it out of the way and get in there and do my work and then get back out. And then Tim says it's time. Yeah, Tim, it's also time to get Hannah a dishwasher.
Hey, Charlie, those things aren't going to get any cheaper. So
Oh, I know that. Nothing gets cheaper these days. So yeah, Russell said I'm gonna have to throw my back out now. I've been down that road too many times. Oh, way too many times. Now, while we got 78 people on here, 77, 78, I will be at Nobby starting, you know, Thursday like everybody else. And I know Joey here is going to be there. What time? When are you coming in? Wednesday?
Yeah, I'm driving up Wednesday.
That's right, because we're all going to go out to dinner with Ricky.
What's Todd? You're not going to be there?
No, I won't be there.
Yeah, long flight.
Yeah, and I have things going on here with work, so.
Yeah, definitely, Brian. I'm going to definitely do some videos on the lifter, and I'll point out a lot of the pros and the cons about it and stuff like that. and all that. So we'll definitely do that. And there's Darren from Pennsylvania.
Hey, Darren.
Hey, everybody.
Howdy.
What's happening there?
Not too much.
Yeah, I'll be there Wednesday evening after work.
Okay.
But I'll be working till 3:30 and then driving down. It's about an hour and a half drive.
I hear.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Mike.
Hey guys.
Hey,
Friend
Mike.
of mine who lives in the area, he said, yeah, he says, you go out of Ohio, and as soon as you cross over the river there into Kentucky, he said, them Kentuckians, there are a bunch of crazy drivers on that roadway down through there. They don't know how to.
We'll second that.
Is that right, Tom? So it's true, huh?
It's true.
And here's Philip. Hey, Philip.
Why is
looks
Philip
cold.
always dressed
Hello,
like he
hello.
doesn't, and he doesn't have any heat?
Are you cold, Philip? You need to turn the heat up. I thought
This is my
Texas
bee
was
jacket.
hot.
What are you talking about?
I thought Texas was hot out there.
It looks like a snowsuit.
No, I was I can't say I was working bees. I was loading bees in my truck. I'm taking a few of them out to the farm to either late tonight or tomorrow morning, probably early tomorrow morning.
What hive lift are you using?
You know what's funny is my son was here for Christmas, and then when I got ready to load those beehives, he was going to Arlington, which is 30 miles away, and my wife had to help me. That was quite a chore.
Were they
Carry
single or
3 colonies.
doubles?
Well, one of them was a single, and the other 2 were 1.5. But they were those the Texas deep thing I'm messing around with. They're like the deep and a medium combined. So they were pretty. They fortunately for us, those bees need food. They weren't super heavy. So I'll be feeding them when I get them out there.
Right. So how's Minnesota Mike doing?
Yeah, I was going to ask that question myself.
Doing really good. Doing really good. I'm going to go see the surgeon on the 4th. That'll be the final thing. And then, but I'll be missing you guys at the conference there. So
Are you getting your toe amputated or something like that? Was it?
well, I don't think they're going to they already amputated it. I don't think what they're going to do is, I don't think they have any more cutting to do. I think they got all the dead tissue and whatnot out. So, and I'm not having any balance problems or any issues, but so that's fun. But I came under 2 interesting revelations here. Is that your big toe basically acts as a bumper for your little toes, so you don't break those things off. And then the other thing is that if you cut off your big toe, you know something, doggone it, your shoes go on a lot faster. You got to have a sense of humor, right, gentlemen?
That's optimism right there.
There you go. There you go. So give Russell a jar of creamed honey. Hey, Brian, I got a kick out of him. He made some ghost pepper creamed honey. Thought that was pretty neat. Be anxious to give that a run there. Are any of you making jalapeno creamed honey?
No.
Okay. Because I'm debating making some roasted jalapeno creamed honey. The flavor changes there, and I've got like a 3rd test batch in here. So I just wanted to ask that out. Everybody else have a good Christmas. You all good?
Yep, we're doing good.
Oh, yeah.
Everything was good.
I want to add a little note to the Chinese grafting tool. I actually take the tongue of the grafting tool and I'll stick it out and sandpaper the back of it 1 or 2 times just to make it a little bit thinner, not much, just so when I go to put it down into the cell, it bends really easy.
Neat tip.
Yeah, I'm gonna now. It's here we go. Let's see where we at. I missed. It's there was the question. Grafting or Nicot. I had a Nicot system, never tried it. I just went ahead and started grafting. And like Tom does, I use a Chinese grafting tool. find one that either you got to thin it down with some really, what's your grit on that, Tom? Sandpaper, 300 or 400?
It's fine grid. I have a grid block. But I don't even know what it is. It's a pretty fine grid.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thin it down, and then I'm gonna let's see. He pronounced his name Boo. I'm just gonna call him Boo. That's the best I can do.
Boudreaux.
That's a
It's
good name.
Boudreaux.
What?
It's Boudreaux from Thibodeau.
Boudreaux?
Boudreaux.
Anyway,
Boudreaux. Where you go in your P-row?
I do have a video about grafting and some tools and the different tools and like the grafting stand and all that kind of stuff. Check my my YouTube channel on Sawmill Charlie's Bee Farm. And but yeah, just I don't know. The main thing, like say, you get that tongue is flexible. I keep it in my mouth. I kind of I wrap that tongue, my personal tongue, around the tongue of that tool and get it nice and warm and sticky, and it bends better and it'll pick up everything better. It sounds weird, but it does work.
That's pretty weird.
Yeah, I don't know how many larvae I have
You
eaten
watch
in the past
most
years.
grafters. Most grafters has got it
Yeah.
stuck in their mouth.
They're
And
going
that's what they're doing.
Grafting tool.
They're wrapping their tongue around that tongue to make it curve like this. So when you go down, it curves right along the bottom. And grafting, and then get yourself and I go through this. This is the stuff I have on my video. I bought on Amazon. I've got a pair of a headset with what do you call it? Magnification unit.
Yeah, the magnifiers.
Yeah, magnifiers, and like I wear these. These glasses here are my reading glasses, and they, you have to kind of tweak that yourself. The other thing that I've even talked with James here about is learning how to set up your combination cell builder finisher, and it can be as simple as a 5-frame nuke or a 6-frame nuke, depending on what you're using in the box wise. And learning how to pack the bees in there, all the good nurse bees, and make sure you don't have any queens in there and all that kind of stuff. And that's grafting is not as hard as making the queenless cell builder, I think.
Yeah, I agree,
Well,
Charlie.
I've got the Nico or
Nikot
system, whichever way you want to call it, depends on where you are.
Yeah, over there they call it Nico. That's
Yeah.
right.
I've used it 1 year and it did okay. I can't see good enough to graft, but I just find it for what little bit I do. I just get me some cells from my neighbor somewhere down the road and just go that route. But if I could see the graft, I think I would just do grafting versus the Nikot system.
Yeah, it's a little bit complicated.
Either way, you still need your starter. You still need your finisher. And I tell you, I know 2 other people that's got it, that's used it before, and they have actually witnessed. They would check it and they would see eggs laid in that cage, and come back in a couple of days to put the larvae into the cell, and the eggs and all were gone. They moved them. And one guy's on YouTube. The other guy goes to our club, and he said he keeps having trouble with them moving those eggs into the hive. So he put it on the shelf and quit using it.
I thought Kodiak Form was the expert on the Nikot system. Isn't
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's had it in there for the last 5 years.
Right, he loves it so much.
You gotta age it in there. It's like whiskey for him.
A good little tip is when you get your queen to lay in frames, have her lay into an older frame where the wax is a little bit thicker and stiffer. And it's actually easier to see the larvae too when it's more black versus white.
No.
Yeah.
So I've obviously missed something because I got a text. I was across the living room. I got a text, and all it said is, "You got to see what Charlie's doing with his tongue." I was like,
Oh, that's just wrong.
I got to log on here. See what Charlie's up to tonight.
Oh, that got you on there, James.
James, man.
So I've used both the NICOT system, and I mean, as everybody knows, I'm no stranger to grafting. So I'm not a fan of the NICOT system. So I've never had them move eggs. I still don't know. I'm not 100% convinced that they do move them. They may cannibalize them, and she may lay somewhere else or something. But
yeah, that could be true too.
But I've seen more queens get damaged, hurt, or killed by new people or beginners trying to get that queen in that NICOT system than I've ever seen with queens getting hurt, say from grafting or something like that. Food for thought, something to think about. Grafting is not hard. The hardest thing about grafting is telling yourself that you can graft. It makes no difference whether Joseph was saying his eyes aren't good enough. They make magnifying glasses. They make guess. I'd say even if you guessed at the age of the larva, not being able to see it that closely, you're probably still going to be successful to a certain degree or a certain percentage. So anybody else curious, just try it. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, my suggestion to that is like when I'm out in the yard and I'm trying to find a graftable frame, I have my normal glasses on, and of course you're looking through a veil or whatever. It's a little harder to see, but I always go by this. If you can see jelly in the bottom of the cell, but you can't see the larvae floating in that jelly, then that is the right age larvae, because
they don't feed an egg.
They don't feed an egg, and they don't put jelly in the bottom of a cell for nothing.
Right.
It's all, and it's, I would say that larvae is probably within 12 hours or so old. As soon as you put your magnifier on, then you can see it. And even then it's pretty darn small in order to go in and graft it out of there. But, that's one of the best ways I've come up of my own way of knowing what to graft and stuff like that. If you can see the larvae floating in there, it's too old.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a firm believer. Just try it. You will not be disappointed for trying. I'm not going to say you're going to be successful the first time, but I guarantee you 100% you won't be successful if you don't try.
Well, if you'll graft and put it in a cell builder, let's say you do 20 grafts. If you get 5, you're 5 ahead of what you didn't have, and that was 0.
Absolutely, yep.
And it's like riding a bicycle. Just go out there, keep doing it, and I look at it as a game between you and the bees. And the bees tell you whether you win or not. If you can get 80%, 90%, hey, that's a winner. If you get 50%, well, okay, you did, it's okay. But you still got 50% of your graft.
If you graft 30 cells and you get your 1 queen, as far as I'm concerned, you won. Because that tells you that one you did something right. Now you just got to figure out what it is you did right there.
And if you can get that queen mated and everything else in the process, you just saved yourself $40.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Think about it that way. For every queen you make, $35 or $40, you're saving yourself. If it's every virgin queen you make, it's $20, I'll say.
Exactly. Yep. Well, and that's one of the things that, we've talked about it a few times here in the last couple of weeks. I'm really going to be stepping up my grafting program this year because, I'm 4.5 to 5 hour drive from anywhere. And, as everybody knows, the last 2 years, I've had a hard time trying to get queens up here. No matter what I try, it seems to backfire. So I'm done having hundreds of dollars or hundreds of queens, never mind hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars worth of queens with hundreds of queens being shipped, to me via truck. Just that when the box gets here, they're all dead. So,
Right. Well, now, like Brian here said, yeah, there's lots of ways of making queens. If you find a frame of eggs and you have a queenless nuke, put that frame of eggs in there. And within 3 to 4 days, they're going to start making queen cells. So there's an easier way of doing it if you need.
You could make a queenless nuke. You could do OTS. You could do a cutout. There's lots and lots and lots and lots of different ways to do it.
Hey, James, I wanted to put a comment in, and I'm gonna leave you guys alone. But I was at the bee supply house today, and I was talking to somebody over there, and they brought up a good point. And I've never considered this and never thought about it because I graft my own queens. And but their argument was this: they buy in their queens because they said it cost them about 2 pounds of honey to order in a queen, but they split their queens. Or their colonies, 2 to 3 weeks earlier than everybody else. And they said that they're doubling their honey production over everybody in their area, based on the fact that their colonies are starting out. So around here, our area, we cannot split typically until the first week of April. And by the time they build up, you're 60 days out by the time their offspring is emerging, right? From the queen, from the time you originate the original queen to the time that their offspring is emerging, it's about 60 days roughly. So their argument is they're splitting their colonies, dropping in a new queen from down south or out west or whatever, and they're doing that in March. And so their colonies are fully developed, and they said that they're doubling their honey production over everybody else, and it's costing them about 2 pounds of honey to do that. So what's your opinion on going that route versus, as I've never considered that. I've always just waited, grafted my own queens, split my colonies. But it makes an interesting argument because if they're making, in our area, 60 to 80 pounds is average, and they're claiming they're making 80 to 100. And so if they're able to do that, and they're doing it with more colonies because the fact that they're splitting, like I said, almost a month and a half before everybody else, does it make more financial sense to go that route?
So a couple takes on that. There's a lot of variables in there, right? So you got to remember too, when a queen starts laying, she doesn't start laying at 1,200 eggs a day, right? So, the 60 days, I think you'd be hard pressed to raise your own queen and have her laying, to a sustainable state in your hive in 60 days. The math to me just doesn't quite add up there. So, I mean, purchasing a queen, absolutely. Except there's probably, what am I looking? There's probably 1 or 2 guys on here that have also purchased queens, and last year seemed to be higher than normal where you purchased a dud. So, there's things to look at that too. Now, absolutely, some of the queens that I grafted didn't mate. Some of the ones that did mate very well. So you get duds both ways. So I think you just really have to look at that carefully. And just be willing to accept the outcome. What I would say is it's very interesting and it would be worth trying and then and seeing how it works for you. I kind of proved that to Bob last year. I don't see Bob on here, but I kind of proved that to Bob last year. You
kind of have to know if you want that stock.
Well, that's where I was trying to tell Bob. So his concern last year, one of the first questions I asked him is, what is your goal? What is your end goal here for the year? Is your goal to have honey, or is your goal to grow your apiary? And he says, no, I just want to grow my apiary. And I says, well, perfect, because then you're going to have more honey. More hives, more bees, more queens. It's just plain and simple. You're going to end up with more honey. That's the way bees work. Now, the variables to that is did he make as much honey, last year as he could have if everything was established? No. Because he had to new foundation, new frames. They had to. You're giving up honey for that wax production. There's a whole bunch of those variables in there. But
well, you also have the issue with like you guys, us, when you're up north a little bit, your honey season is May and June. So now you guys are a little bit different. You get canola and stuff through the summer. I guess your season's a little bit later, but up here,
usually June and July really for us.
Yeah, so it's mostly May and June around here. So that's one of the biggest problems with the buildup is last year, because I lost so many colonies, when I had to repopulate, I only ended up with about a quarter of my production. And that's because, the buildup it took. But that's why it was an interesting concept. Like I said, I'd never considered it, but I just heard you guys talking about the grafting, which is what I usually do.
Yep.
But it just made an interesting comment, though. They're like, it cost me 2 pounds, but they're doubling their colonies, and then they're doing some other stuff, kind of like Charlie, where demarays and whatever, and they said they're averaging 80 to 100 pounds of honey versus in my area it's 60, 80 pounds. So it's just, like I said, they made more honey with half as many colonies as they did twice as much honey as I did with half as many colonies. And that's because every year they order in all new queens. And I was like, well, that's an interesting concept. But when I say all new, they split all their colonies and then they put a queen that's ready to go in that colony.
Right.
So every year.
Robert, I've bought some queens before like that. I just bought 12 of them last year, and 2/3 of them were duds. I mean, they're good for 3 months, and that's about it. You won't get over winter with them because they weren't mated good enough. They laid their eggs, and that was it.
Yeah, I think
So
Bob,
I'm doing something a little bit different this year. I'm actually making my own queens for the next year after summer solstice. So I got now a whole bunch of horizontal hives, 3 of them. And this year, I did a little bit last year. This year, I'll be, or 24, I'll be actually grafting in July and making up about 17 nukes just for summer solstice queens. And then the following spring, I'll be swapping them out. And I'll be doing that every year.
so I did something different this year. I put 6 drone colonies into the bee barn. So when I say drone colonies, they had I had to feed them honey, or not honey, but I had to take sugar water frames that the bees had capped, and I had to put it in there to build them up. But I put 6 drone colonies into the bee barn. And when I was out there, not yesterday, the day before, those 6 colonies are still full of drones. So now I'm trying to figure out how to make myself Charlie's laughing already, how to make myself a cell builder in the barn. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
There was a guy on YouTube, and I don't know if this is complete horse crap or not, but there was a guy on YouTube that claimed that you can take drones in a queen and lock them in a box and they'll mate. And I was like, I've never heard of that, but supposedly that doesn't happen. But then this guy swears it does. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
If he gets it on film, let us know.
Yeah.
You're talking about the queens being put in.
Of the drone. I don't even think the drone is capable of it unless he's in flight.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So,
well, I'm gonna get busy. Back at work. I'm listening to you guys, but just wanted to throw that thought out there.
Pop in with those ideas like that, and anybody else out there, because now you got the brain going here. So I'll probably be thinking about that for the next week.
Like I said,
where are you located, Robert?
I think the Central Ohio. The thing that I think that people aren't considering in that comment is like this is not a longevity thing for the bees. This is not a replacement for your summer grafting or anything like that. This is strictly for jump starting your colonies, basically 75 days earlier than everybody in your area, because they're able to split. They're able to take a entire hive, they split it in half, in the beginning of March when you can't graft. So they're already splitting in early March, and they're up and running.
And,
They're
yeah, I mean, it makes sense if you have an established mated queen that is laying and hasn't been caged for a long period of time. You're buying yourself, 2 months of egg laying, basically, is what you're doing.
Yep, and that's what they said. They said just that alone, they're able to outproduce between that, and they do a demeray similar to Charlie. But they said they outproduce one. They've doubled their hives, and second of all, they're outproducing because of the other techniques they're doing. But I just thought that was pretty amazing because I've never considered that. I always look at the fact that our start date starts somewhere around April 1st, not second week of or whatever of March.
Well, you stop and think about that. So I'm just crunching some numbers here. So, I mean, if the queen started out a little bit slow and then sped up to about 1,200 eggs a day, after 60 days, you'd be somewhere between 44,000 and 72,000 bees, depending as to how quickly she sped up. So that's building that colony up relatively quickly, right?
Mm-hmm. And like you said, you're talking at least 75 days minimum because you can't even start grafting here until the April 1st.
Yeah.
So
that works if you can get a hold of good queen bees. So I think as long as you buy your bees from a reputable, commercial queen breeder, I think you'd be just fine. There's a lot of duds that are out there, kind of like Tom got. I have another gentleman that I talk to quite often in, where is he? He's in,
this is a bee support.
He's North Dakota, and he got a whole bunch of duds last year too, and I think it all just depends. Buy it from a reputable bee queen breeder, and I think you'd be fine. My problem is I just can't get them. I can't get them up here. Where I'm located, it's just to get them here is almost impossible.
Yeah, I think they said they're getting from either California or I can't remember, California or down south. But regardless, they're a supply house, so they already have connections that they're using on it, every year. But I just thought it was an interesting concept. It's back to the beaconomics, right? It adds something there, a concept.
Life cycle of a bee.
Robert, did you say they're from North Dakota?
No, I'm from Central Ohio.
You said that the person who's doing that, they're from North Dakota?
No.
I have somebody in North Dakota.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
They're in Cleveland, Ohio. So, and they're in the snow belt. So they're colder and they have much more snow than we get. Like Central Ohio gets like 3 feet a year. It's not much. We get these little flurries all the time, but there's nothing of accumulation. 30 years ago, we used to get some accumulation, but now we don't. But up there and where that individual's at, they're up in the snow belt. They get like 10 feet a year right off of the lake effect.
Oh, yeah.
But
3 feet, twice as much as we get here in Texas.
I haven't even got 3 inches yet.
What are you talking about? Look at this parka. Look at the parka over here. He's got a jacket, a hat. What is it, 75 degrees there for a parka?
Light the Christmas tree on fire. Come on, Philip. Light the Christmas. It's your bee suit. Okay, there we go.
Hey, Robert, I could see that up in Cleveland, up through Buffalo. They probably got flowers on their trees in March, and they still got 2 feet of snow on the ground.
Yeah. But we have, just for the record, though, I went on a walk this week, and we have the magnolia flowers, and all of our maples are budding.
What?
Hey.
Yeah.
Maples are budding?
The magnolia blooms and the maples are all budding right now, which that should not be. Like, that never happens. But
yeah,
mine are pretty well budded too.
We had 60-degree. It was 60 degrees on Christmas, which is unheard of. And but I think the trees are just fooled because we had a little bit of a cold snap, and then it warmed back up, and then all these trees have they're budding. Like magnolia, the flowers are all budded. I can't believe it.
Well,
They
everything's
said we'd be in for an El Nino this year, so it seems like that we actually might be. Now, apparently down south, an El Nino means that I guess, like in the north, that things are warmer, milder, but down south, they get more rain, maybe a little cooler. I don't know if that what everybody's experiencing down south. But
Well,
yeah,
I
our
know
weather here in
a whole
Pennsylvania
lot-
has been crazy warm.
It's a whole lot warmer up north here. Boxing Day, I dug my motorbike out and went for a bike ride. You never get to do that in Grand Prairie, Alberta, Canada on Boxing Day.
I think they said we were averaging almost 30 degrees over our normal temperatures for the past month.
Say, guys, I wanted to bounce back to the buying queens real quick for people that are looking at buying queens. Something that Bob Binney said a while ago, and that was if you're looking at buying queens from a supplier and you know where the supplier is, pay attention to where their weather is, what their weather's like. Because if it's been raining for 3 weeks before the queen is shipped, odds are she hasn't had a chance to fly out in May. So I just wanted to bring that up to you guys. If you know where your queens are being made. So.
Yeah, see, and a good reputable queen breeder won't cage that queen until he knows she's laying. So
yeah.
Go. I'm excited. I'm
There you go, James.
I'm closer to you today, James. Airdrie with family. Oh, you're in Airdrie. Holy smokes! You're you're only about 7 hours away.
But now Ian's not coming, right?
He's not coming to Nobby, no.
Yeah. Happy New Year to you too, Ian, and the rest of the folk.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
It's just a grand thing. Say, have any of you guys seen the interview that Rob did, LaRobbie, with Ian? He was talking about his gradual use of oxalic. It's interesting. It's really interesting. And it got me thinking because he was talking about a second dose of oxalic, and the first time he ever did it, and just all the mites that were coming down or whatever, and it made me think of what happened with you, Philip. Your initial counts. By the way, those were really good records that you kept, and I got to thinking: has anybody ever run into any studies on the gradual poisoning of mites? In other words, do they get a certain amount of oxalic in their system and it stays there? And if they get another dose, then it builds up to a toxic level. Has anybody ever heard? Because we don't know what kills them,
Well, I think we do know what kills them.
Really?
So there was a study. I should find. Let me see if I can find that. Let me find it. I'll add it in the post here. So
Okay.
there was a couple studies done. And it's not so much that they get poisoned by it as what it does to them.
Nancy says it fries their feet.
Yeah,
Well,
what
that's
I've
the
heard.
assumption there because we've heard for quite some time that it's absorbed. It
Absorbs.
Fries
through
their feet and their skeleton.
Yeah. Well, we don't. I don't think we know that for sure. But we think it's absorbed through their feet. I remember we've talked about that, with people over the years. But as far as it, it doesn't.
University of Florida has a study on that. I listened to it like a year ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it here now. There's actually a couple of them.
I think it was Florida. It was either Florida or Georgia, one of the two.
There was one that was done in the States, and then there was another one that was done over in Europe. I had to use Google Translate to translate it. I'll see if I can find it.
I had a live, extremely live mic. I just did a video of it, called it on a recorder, and it was on I had it on one of my counting boards, and sure enough, it crawled across that quarter, and it crawled through a little oxalic acid residue, and it died a horrible death. It was a beautiful thing to watch.
Start cringing and whatnot.
Oh, it started just convulsing, and then it just like shivered a few times and just dead. It's like, man, that's great.
Turning us all into serial oxalic murderers.
Well, all I can say is I went through pounds and pounds and pounds of oxalic acid last year.
How many rounds did you do, James?
I did 4 rounds last year.
Okay.
That's what Ian said there, I think.
Okay, here you go. Come on.
It took me 10 rounds to get one of my colonies right, and I don't know that it helped because that's the colony I think is going to fail. But I think they just got too far out of hand.
Yeah, I did 3 years the year, or 3 rounds the year before. I did 4 rounds here last year, and normally I would just do 3 rounds every 7 days, but that's kind of got to do with my work schedule, right?
Yeah. Out in the country, I can just treat them like every 2 weeks. And that video I put out, I was, after one day, I wasn't concerned, but I checked. I didn't retreat. I just went back. I just put the counting boards back in and went and counted again. And they at least tripled the amount that dropped. And in some cases, it was 5 times as many mites
That was
on the
pretty
board
incredible.
after 5 days. I was like, I really don't feel good about anything I see out in the country because that's all I get to do is treat on Saturday and check them on Sunday, and then I come home. So I really, it's making me wonder.
I don't use oxalic acid vapor in the spring, just in the fall. Got to remember, last year I did. I brought 76 hives out of the barn last year, and I did a wash on all of them, and I found 1 mite.
That's just crazy. Now, were you messing around with the CO2 in your shed?
I take the
Yeah, but there was a few other things. and I'm not allowed to divulge any of it either.
Appreciate that.
That would be a no.
He acknowledged the question. That's all we need to know.
No, actually, I remember you talking about it now last year, so I'm embarrassed I even asked that. But Brad brought up something. He said he believes that it causes heart attacks in mice, and I wish I could remember who was talking about this, but they said usually when something's being poisoned, his heartbeat starts speeding up. And you've all held dead animals that have died in your arms. Their heartbeats go way up as they're trying to grab that last bit of oxygen and nutrients. Well, apparently the mites, when they're dying and they're hit with oxalic, their heartbeat slows down. So just another little grain in the mystery there.
Well, do they actually have a heart?
Yeah.
Well, something resembling a heart, Charlie, which is more than me and you. So.
Yeah.
So. But
those little bastards have cold hearts. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, it's on the article. I'm just trying to run it through Google Translate here.
So Darren, what's happening with you up in PA? Anything?
Nothing really. No, just waiting for Nobby. That's really about it. It's nothing happening anymore.
When are you showing up out that way?
It won't be till Thursday. I'm gonna make it like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'll probably be there like Thursday afternoon sometime. I think I'm staying at the same place you are. That's only like just right up the road, I think.
At the
Garden Inn.
Garden Inn, yeah. I'm there, Lee's there. Some other folks are out,
Yeah.
You drive it in?
Yeah. About an 8-hour drive.
I'll have to watch the YouTube videos because that's as close as I'm going to get this year.
Yeah, that's a shame. Enjoyed having you this past January.
It's Tuesday through Sunday. It's supposed to be sunny.
The U.S. can't handle me in that country twice in a single year.
There's Sebastian from the UK. Good to see you, but Sebastian. So I'm gonna leave out Tuesday morning, get out to Dayton that night, and then drive on in the next day in the afternoon, I presume. Yeah, Sebastian, they like the money to spend. I've got mite treatments I bought and pollen patties I bought, and I've got one beekeeper here that wants me to buy some honey from Bob Benny if he has it, some Tupelo and sourwood, I think.
I wouldn't mind picking up some of that sourwood off of Bob Binney.
I'm curious
I'm
about
sure
that
you
too.
have
man.
some.
Wow. Enter through the soft paths of the mite's feet, travels in the bloodstream, killing the mite too. Thought or not, shows parts of the mite. Yeah. Okay. So it's going through their paths. So how many of you guys are bringing trailers to bring more equipment back?
I just got a minivan.
That's good enough, Charlie.
It'll fit a hive lifter, or a hive lifter will fit in there. Don't worry.
What you got there, Joe? What do you got, Joseph?
I don't know if the background's going to let it show
It
up.
says sourwood. I
Is
should
that
see
Bob
that.
Binney's?
That's
Is that
Bob.
Bob Benny? Bob Benny's honey?
Yeah, sourwood. You braggart.
How's it taste? Better than anything you've ever tasted?
It's good. Kind of reminds me of a sucker.
One born every day.
Yep.
Does it remind any of you guys of a sweet and sour sauce?
No.
It's sweet and sour honey, sourwood. Made me think of it. Sorry.
So James, have you gotten your extraction line put together yet?
No,
Running?
haven't unloaded it, and making a point of not going out there to even look at it until after the new year. So,
Yeah, Nancy wanted to know about anybody going to swap honey. Now, I'm going to bring some honey bottles, but I'm basically I did like what he did last year. Is like when I met James, I gave him a bottle, and he had actually had a bottle of honey, and I give them out to all my YouTube friends and stuff like that.
I'm bringing about 20 bottles,
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
8-ounce bottles.
And I'm just going to give them out to our group here. If we get to see each other, anybody that sees me there, I'll have a jacket on with my Sawmill Charlie's Bee Farm. It's like a big saw with all the lettering and everything. And, come on up and say, hey. And, but that's what, no lifters, honey.
Yeah, I'll have. I reserved 2 cases of small jars of honey to bring.
So that's what I'm planning on doing, giving them out to all my YouTuber friends.
I was going to say, I don't know how everybody else's honey sales were over the holiday season, but I don't think I have a single container left. I have to bottle some more. So the amount of honey I've sold in the last, let's call it 2 weeks, is phenomenal.
I saw the writing. I saw the writing
too, James.
Yeah. I saw the writing on the wall and said, you know what? If I don't pull it back, it's not going to make it to the conference. So I pulled it back and held it back.
I look at things different than you guys do. Man, if I can sell every single last ounce, if I can do that, 2 weeks after I extracted it, perfect. Let it go. I don't have to work.
You guys are costing me about $300 extra bucks, so you better appreciate it.
Hey, Philip, are you going to any more events to sell your honey, or are you taking a break from that?
I've got plenty of the fall honey, but what I'm bringing to the expo is the spring honey from my farm and from here at the house. So,
Hey, Laurie.
Hey, Laurie.
But yeah, I've got 2 more markets that I'm doing there in January, and it's mainly. I'll sell a little bit of honey there, but it's mainly to hand out my business cards and tell people I'm not going to be there until July. So if they need honey, they contact me.
So is that Laurie? Is that Ian? Is that your daughter?
Yep, I believe it is.
Look at that.
I didn't do any.
That's cool.
Didn't do any Christmas markets. So
You're welcome, Lee.
What I did do though is I made some Christmas, call them crates if you would, where I put a jar of each type of the flavored honey in there, and sold one of those, and they told 2 friends and so on and so forth, and I literally just could not make them fast enough. So
That's great.
yeah, we probably went through I don't know, 150, 200 gallons.
Wow.
So in 2 weeks.
Yeah, very nice. Well, guys, I'm going to take off here and finish the laundry and take care of the lions and so on. And you guys all have a happy New Year's.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
We're overtaken by the Steplers. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, James, at this point, I'm calling the Monty Python thing and saying, run away. Okay, guys, God bless. Y'all take care.
See you later, Mike.
All right, Mike.
Bye-bye.
Let us know how your doctor visit goes.
I will. Absolutely. Thank you so much there. Bye-bye.
Prayers, buddy.
Thank you.
See
I
ya.
just noticed looking at this sourwood honey. I bought this September a year ago.
There you go.
And it hadn't even started crystallizing yet.
Yeah. Mine doesn't crystallize for about a year. It takes about a year.
That's how long mine. That's not what mine does.
All right, I got a question. You know, you get the folks that are buying the honey, and they, you know, I had one guy come in here. I didn't get to see him because he left before I got back from a delivery, but he was wanting to know whether the honey was pasteurized or heated and all that. And I always say to him, I said, I don't know if anybody pasteurizes honey when it's an antibacterial product to begin with. I don't know whether they get that confused with heating your honey up, you know, for it to flow better.
So it is a requirement. If you're going to sell it commercially here in Canada, it has to be pasteurized. A couple different ways to do that. So one is heating it up. Two is heating it up at a lower temperature, but under a vacuum. So there's a couple different ways that you can do that. But it is a requirement up here.
To pasteurize it?
Yeah. I've got a question though. So, we got Lori and Ian on here. So I'm going to ask Lori, give us the lowdown. What's the dirt on the on that Ian guy? You can't seem to ever get one up on him.
He also signs the checks. I bet he doesn't come clean.
Yeah. Right now, Ian's deleting my contact information from his phone.
So now is Laurie the nurse in the family, or that an older sister?
I'm not sure. So
he commented that she was she was a 5-year beekeeper.
Yeah, keeping bees for 5
Or is
years.
Laurie the newest, the youngest daughter that's really kicking butt on the extracting honey and all that kind of stuff? You know, lifting the boxes up with the machine and all. But anyway, that's what I get. And then my question is, all right, like I keep my honey, the majority of my honey in a water jacketed honey bottling tank. I keep it around 95 degrees. It goes between 90, I'll say 80, or let's say 90 to 97 degrees. I don't think that's really detrimental to the honey that I know of.
No, so Ian and Brad are both saying a lot of the bee-made stuff isn't pasteurized. So I might have been mistaken on that.
I thought it was 106 degrees, Charlie. I thought that was like the threshold where like those enzymes and all that start getting killed off. 106.
I know that Bob Benny had something about that, and depend on the duration, the amount of heat, and things of that nature.
So here, I'll tell you a story about pasteurization. So, and it may or may not be it. I'm a farm boy, so I was born and raised on a farm, and of course, I don't know how old I would have been at the time, 8, 9 years old, something like that. I was over at my aunt and uncle's place, and this is when pasteurization started to come out for milk. Now, I've drank lots of milk that hasn't been pasteurized, and I'm okay.
Me too.
But so anyways, my aunt decided, you know what, that's it. She's not drinking milk anymore until Uncle gets the cow pasteurized. So, okay, he loaded the cow up. We drove into Grand Prairie. We went, and at the time,
Here's
it was
Michael now.
it was,
They're taking over.
Michael Stepler. There we go. But anyways, we drove into town and it makes me work at hot bee guards. There we go.
Y'all are shooting the wheels off James's story.
I started something now. Just to see, the dirt's coming out now. But yeah, we had an ice cream. We spent about an hour in town, went home, unloaded the cow. The cow spent the whole time in the back of the truck. My aunt's like, well, where'd you go? He says, that's it. We took Bessie to town to have her pasteurized. She drank that milk. And she's 100 and what is she right now? 103, 104 years old. So can't be that bad for you.
Yeah, Charlie, I heard that and Brad even mentioned it in the comments, that they'll pasteurize it, and I think they'll push it through some really small filters to keep it from crystallizing.
Well, there you go. Like they're saying that it's not required for pasteurization.
Yeah, here's Doug. He's got that certification. I know that you're talking. That's Canadian.
The CFIA, Canadian Food Inspection Agency.
Yeah, and there's no requirements of pasteurization. I like I say, I often thought that the general public got that confused with warming. I call it not so much heating your honey, but warming it to where you can pump it easier,
Better.
bottle it easier. I mean, let's face it. I mean, I've got honey in 5-gallon buckets here, and it sits there. It's going to crystallize. It's going to be as hard as a rock, and the only way to decrystallize, everybody knows, is to warm it up.
Canola honey gets crystallized very quickly. Like, I mean, within days to weeks of getting it out of the frame and into the barrel or the drum or the bucket or whatever. Yeah, it's crystallized already.
Yeah, that's the way alfalfa is too. That's why they say like canola and alfalfa, like they're the two that you want to use for creamed honey. I mean, other honeys will crystallize as well, but because they crystallize faster at a faster rate.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried honey from the yellow alfalfa?
I've never heard of yellow alfalfa.
Yeah, they've started planting that up here now. There's a couple huge fields. So, the flowers, the blossoms are much, much smaller. So I'm curious if the honeybee can get the nectar out of it a little bit easier. I don't know, but I'm going to go talk to a couple of landowners because I would just like to see what that yellow alfalfa produces. So.
Now, Norman says about the high heat destroys. Well, I know that Bob Benning, like you say, it depends. He was quoting, like 120 degrees, at a certain amount of time and that kind of stuff.
Oh, so maybe they're doing it. If you look at the comments from Brad and Doug and stuff in there, maybe they're meeting it here through the filtration.
Yeah, they're filtering the pollen out. I mean, that's the reason why I'll say local / raw honey has the pollen in it. That's why I can cure so many people, which Brad doesn't believe. I had a repeat patient come in, and I have cured her and her husband. She swears up and be nouns of
Charlie,
of the the what do you call it, pollen problems and all that stuff.
There's a guy.
Charlie.
What's that, Darren?
There's a YouTube channel, Alabama Hot Sauce. I think I just found that one the other day. I don't know if you guys have seen that guy or not, but he's making hot sauces, but he's also doing some infused honeys and creamed honeys and stuff. And he's saying that now I'm thinking this guy's kind of like an authority on it because he's doing the hot sauce thing and all that. And like there's more stringent rules for that, right? But he's saying that if you do any kind of infusion or anything like that in the United States, that it has to be pasteurized. Or any kind of creamed honey, anything that you do of that nature needs to be, like if you add anything or alter it anyway, it needs to be pasteurized. I don't know if there's truth to that or not. I've never heard that. He's the only person I heard say that at this point.
That's not in the regulations of Ohio.
He's saying it's FDA regulations, and I believe he said that it needs to be. And he's not the only one that said this. I've read this, and I've seen people in a chat say that if you're creaming honey in the U.S., you need to register that with the FDA. And I don't know if that's true or not, but
I don't believe it is.
No, if you're infusing it, you probably here in Louisiana, if you infusing it, you have regulations you got to go through to sell in stores. But you can sell it out of your home or at markets. Now, just regular creamed honey. No, you don't have. You can do that the same as regular liquid honey.
Yeah, in Texas, you can sell honey and then regular creamed honey, but if you add flavorings, you've got to have the food handler's license to do that if you add anything to it. But yeah, Charlie's honey's an aphrodisiac as well. Charlie tells people his honey's not adulterated, but it might cause adultery.
Huh.
But and that was always a kind of I mean, I tell people, like, they'll say, well, is it filtered or, and I said, no, I've been,
strained.
I said, there's a difference.
Yes.
And you have to explain that difference between them.
Because if it's strained, it can still be raw filtered, right? Or I'm sorry, raw honey. But if it's filtered, then it's no longer raw honey. Is that?
No, it just means it's unfiltered. It means it's filtered. It can be raw and filtered. Raw just means it hadn't been heated above whatever you were saying before, like 110 degrees.
Michael, none of us like washing pails, just for the record.
I wonder if they took over the internet over at that household. Ian hasn't replied.
I'm surprised they have internet.
If you guys remember, Ian said he was in Airdrie, which is just down by Calgary. So
yeah, well, that's over in your territory then.
It's in Alberta. Yeah, it's just north of Calgary, so it's about a 7.5-hour drive from here.
Now, what's the big deal about syrup pails? I mean,
They're just no fun to wash.
Okay, I would figure Ian would have a washing machine by that time.
Well,
I'm sure Carl, he could hook him up with a commercial washer.
Yeah. Well, the problem with the pails is that fill hole, or in some cases the screen that you put in there. That's the only access you have. One of the biggest mistakes people make. It's easy to wash the pails if you pull the lid off. But when you pull the lid off and you put it back on, they don't seal. And if they, you might get them to seal once or twice, but all it takes is a little nick or something in there, and then they don't maintain the vacuum. And that whole, we are the washing machines, that whole syrup pail ends up down inside the hive. So what ends up happening, or at least what I do, is I put my lids on the pails, and those lids never, ever come off. There are 1,800 of them.
Now, what's this here?
Yeah,
honey comes from the Viagra flowers. Now, that might be a new way. I can sell that. I said, hey, you need some trouble? You can get my
there
honey.
you go.
Or I can get some of Todd's honey. Got some blue curl honey. Like the blue pill works great, and it makes it curl.
Jeez.
We're gonna have to put an R rating on this YouTube stream very, very shortly.
Oh man,
Michael talking about washing them buckets. I used to have to mow the yards when I was a kid at home, and when I told him I was getting married 2 weeks before my wedding, my dad went and bought a riding lawnmower. I used to have to push mow all the time. Same thing with the buckets. He'll buy something to wash in buckets when Michael's gone.
So there's two ways to look at that, Ian. One, at least they're engaged into the honey conversation. I'm not sure how they found Charlie's channel, but Charlie's he's got the whole Stepler family on here tonight.
Hey, the more the merrier. I'm glad to invite everybody. Hey, Morgan.
Hello, how you?
All right. I know Morgan's been on. What was it, last night or the night? Or
yeah, I got me a light.
You're from what?
We can
Michigan
see you
area?
now.
In central Indiana.
Indiana. Okay.
Yeah. But I
Close
was
to.
talking to them about creamed honey. I started making a little bit of creamed honey, and people started trying it. And the more people try it, the more people are wanting it. So I got to make some more.
That's what happened. Yeah. I got a batch going right now. I had to
What are you
make more
doing out
cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
I haven't tried any flavors yet. It's all just been straight honey.
Todd, what's your batch you're doing now?
My what?
Your batch you're doing now is cinnamon?
I'm making cinnamon. Or I will be. It's I don't have a creamer yet.
I was about to ask you if you had one.
When I do get one, it's going to be that licensed creamer that has the heated jacket. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to double that up as a bottling tank.
It's a good idea.
But right now I'm just doing it with that long corkscrew you could buy from what the heck's that bee place up in New York? Better Bee. So I bought a couple of those. So I'm just mixing it with that. So right now it's going to be honey this week, and then probably next week when I run out of peanut butter, I'm going to have to make peanut butter. So
I've got a long ways to go before I invest in a creamer. That's for sure. Especially the heated creamer. My creamer is that KitchenAid mixer.
That's what I use, but it's a generic KitchenAid.
I burnt my wife's KitchenAid out just about 2 weeks before Christmas.
So she got a new one for Christmas, right?
Kicking the kids off their phones.
Present. Christmas is over.
So.
But that's what I use. I used a regular hand mixer to start the first batch to get it up, and then I just get it creamed and make the starter, and then I just put it into the KitchenAid, generic KitchenAid, and add the honey to it, and let it spin up for a few times, get it to where I want it. That's it.
Who's got the background noise going?
Me.
Not me.
No, I'm in a room with nothing else going on, so.
No, I'm muting my mic, so I don't think it's me.
No, it's not.
In the cone.
Sounds going
It's
now.
going now.
It's going.
Test.
No, it sounds like a TV.
Yeah.
It sounds like a TV. It's not a backfeed.
It's someone's TV.
Hive tools. Somebody's getting
Yeah,
hive
Ian.
tools next year.
Yeah, Ian. And then the kids ought to gift you a couple smokers for each truck.
That's where I was gonna go. Yeah.
That way you'll never go without a smoker.
Yeah, they'll all get their dad a smoker for Christmas. There you go. You have one in every vehicle.
Yeah.
And well, that's
Yeah,
fun.
we went out to the bar
I'm
last
always-
night, and I sold $50.
It's always good to have everybody coming on like this. I really enjoy this. And so anyway, I know James, you've got plans to get up around 300 or more hives.
Yeah, I want to put 300 into the bee barn this fall. Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Well, you had what? Were you running close to 300?
Yeah, I was slightly over there for a period of time.
And that's my phone now.
Loaf of bread, quart of milk, pound of butter.
I got 4 hives, and that's where I'm staying at.
I said that at one time too.
It don't work that way, Morgan.
I'm staying at it for a while for now because I just don't have any more room than that. I live in town, and I just got my backyard.
Better.
Sometimes bees is like raising rabbits.
Yeah.
That's what there was somebody on YouTube, and I was thinking, on YouTube, on Facebook, asking about it. I said, well, from my experience, you got to set your what you want and figure out how to stay at that. Because if not, it can get out. You can get out of hand on it.
Yeah.
Like if all four of mine make it, I'll split and I'll sell the 4 splits.
Well, I've got one here in town by home, or right behind my house, and when I first brought it in, all the neighbors, they weren't, they didn't say no because I had to send it out to get a permit. So they didn't say no, but they really didn't. They weren't too crazy about it. And then after the first year, when all of their honey jars got filled, and the second year when all their honey jars got filled, now they're asking if I want to put one in the back of their yard.
You see, here in Indiana, we got a law. They can't. There's nothing anybody can do about you having beehives.
There you go.
That's cool.
Yeah, somebody's TV's getting louder. Hey, Brian, good to see you.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. Good. So what's happening in Colorado?
Just took a day off today, actually. So I did nothing, absolutely nothing today. Getting ready for the trip, Yeah, that's it. It's winter, so there's not much to do in the bee yards. I have gone and done my oxalic. I've done all my winter oxalic treatments. And then I even started going around and checking my trays, which was actually really helpful because I found one that had like 50 mites drop on them. So I hit that one again. Check out Dookie Chase's restaurant in New Orleans. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have a big trip coming up. I'm going to Kentucky. And then from there, I'm driving down to New Orleans to go to ABF. And then my wife is going to fly to New Orleans, meet me out there. And then we're going to drive back home together. So I got a January planned. I got a lot of, it'll be a lot of fun, but I got a lot of work planned as well during those trips.
So are you driving to Kentucky by yourself?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. That's a long haul.
It's 16 hours. Yeah.
You've been watching me too much, Brian.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. But I figure, I'll be full of excitement. It'll be the beginning of the trip. I'll take my time. I'll leave Tuesday. I'm getting a topper on my truck Tuesday morning. And then right after that, I'm going to leave. So I plan to be out there like Thursday by lunchtime, that kind of thing. And then Saturday night, I'll start heading down to New Orleans. I'm going to try to stop by Mark Miller's on the way from Kentucky to New Orleans, stop there. I'll probably stay somewhere around his place Saturday night and then meet up with him Sunday morning. So I'm excited. It's going to be a fun trip. I'm really excited for the year. And James, I appreciate all of your thinking about your business because you're such a well thought out person. And like when you talk about wanting to have 300 hives going into the shed in the fall, you can see the goals and the planning that you're doing to get to that place. So I appreciate that backwards planning that you do and that business mindset.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because I'm a no-life beekeeper, I went back and listened to Charlie's that New Year's Eve one just a couple of nights ago. And that was when we first met you, James, and you came on and like Charlie first starting to grill you about the hive lifters and everything. It was interesting to go back and be like, wow, all of us have learned.
Yeah, all 6 hours of that.
Because I have no life. That's what I did yesterday. I listened to that whole thing, but it's fun.
So a year in research there, Charlie. Any plans to buy a hive lifter anytime soon?
Yeah, you're not coming this way with one, are you?
I think he's close.
I'm getting ready to pull the trigger on it. I have to say.
I was going to say, I think I got 3 of them now.
Yeah, I like the aluminum. I don't know what the other. What do you got? You got yourself a hive lifter or what's it called?
So I got 2 hive lifters and one's a box lifter. So one is an electric one, so it plugs into 115 volt. It came with this last line that I got, and it's designed so that you can wheel with a dolly, 2-wheel dolly. You could wheel 4 or 5 or 6 supers onto that, and turn it on to feed it onto or into the extraction line. So I'm not going to be needing it or using it. We have other plans, but it is an interesting concept.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm like I say, I think I'll be, after Nobby, I'll probably go ahead and call Boris up, get something going. I also, you said that yours, didn't you say you got yours a wider wheel span?
Yep. Yeah, and he'll make that for you. He'll give you a couple different axle sizes. If you let him know that you plan on using it for, he extended the axle for me because he knew I was using Brad's and Ian's two-way pallet. So he extended the wheels out from it for me, and then that's a good modification. Even if you weren't, I'd say that's a good modification.
Well, I'm looking for stability. That was one of the things, like with Mike down there, when he had his, and he had a couple box, 2 or 3 supers on there, and it was a little bit top heavy or whatever. And I think the wider the stance, it would be a little bit better.
Yeah, you won't go wrong with those.
Pattern. He
Bigger
must have
wheels are
stuck with
probably
that
thicker
pattern
wheels
because
probably helps.
my wheels are wider. He's got them extended out about 3 inches each direction wider than the dolly itself is.
Oh yeah, I think mine are out further than that though too.
Okay.
So mine are actually out so far. I thought that the axle itself would bend, but lots of feedback there. I've overloaded that lifter so many times, and it just gets to the point where you just can't lift anymore with it. Like, it grunts and you lift it up. I've even had it where Alan's gone around to the front and a little bit to help lift it up, and away you go again. I mean, that thing's bulletproof.
Let's see. Yeah, Bruce, you have one too. I'd like to get your phone number and talk to you also. I'm going to pick it up from the rear of the hive is what I'm going to do. My main thing is to pick up the honey supers and everything so I can get down in the brood chamber, and then also pick up the honey supers and put them on the back of my pickup truck too. So
you saw that video of me doing that last year, did you not?
I believe so, didn't you? Well, you had it. You picked up the pallet and stuck it right on the side of the trailer and stuff like that.
Well, I did that when I took those hives over to Brad. They were fairly light, those ones there though. But I think I've had it was it the first year? So not last year, year before. I think there's a video where I've got like 4 deep honey supers on that thing, and I pick it up and I put it right in the back of my truck. Go grab another 4 and put them in the back of my truck. I mean, that thing just goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's my resolution.
All right. So, are we all placing bets? Is Charlie going to have one by New Year's 2025?
Nah, it'll be possibly this year.
Possibly.
You only got a couple of days of this year left.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, next year. And all that kind of stuff. Kodiak says by 20, Lee says
2028.
No, by that time I might be quitting. Who knows?
So, guys, I was enjoying that conversation about creamed honey, and the reason I jumped on is because I wanted to share. I know I've talked about my creamed honey a lot, but Jen wanted one of these little KitchenAids, and it's great for making creamed honey. If you're doing small batches, it's a nice way to start. Like, I used it to do some test batches, so I made some creamed honey, and then I put my flavors in there. So, if you're not ready for the bigger stuff, I think that's a great way to go. Honestly, I'm not even sure why she wanted it, but as soon as she said she wanted it, I was like, okay, and I went and bought it for her just so I could have it to play with too, right?
Keep your batches. Yeah, I was gonna say, keep your batches under 3 kilograms. 3 kilograms or a little bit more. You
burn the motor.
No, you don't burn the motor out. Believe it or not, you strip the gears out. But you can buy them on Amazon for $29.95.
Okay.
You want to post a link?
And actually, the ones that I when I pulled it out, they weren't plastic. I think they were a nylon gear or something in there.
Okay.
And the ones that I bought off of Amazon, they're actually stainless steel, so they're a much better gear. So I don't know, maybe it'll handle 3 kgs now.
Yeah. That last batch I did was
how
8
much
pounds.
is 3 kilograms per pound?
What is there? There's 2.2 pounds to a 2.2 here. Let me tell you. I just happen to have my conversion here. I think it's 2.2 pounds per or per kg.
Yeah, it is. I do remember that.
Printouts and everything.
Wait, here you go. So pounds. 1 pound is 16 ounces, and I got to go the other way.
Well, he's
1
doing
kilogram
that.
is
Brian, how many quarts is that mixer?
1 kilogram is 2.205 pounds. I think it's 6.
5 quarts.
5 quarts.
5 quarts. Okay.
I
Yeah, I
did
got the
1 pound batch in
6
that
quart
one,
one.
Brian.
And then I think, Brian, you use the dough hook, don't you?
Yep. I call it the pirate hook. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was using too.
Yeah. It's
I
nice.
use the whisk one.
I use this one. You know, it goes a little faster than I want it to. So this is the one that kind of moves it the least. So that was definitely what I want. You know, if I could run it slower than it runs, I would, but because it goes a little fast on its low, that even provides more contact, Darren. So I was looking for less contact to kind of counter the speed.
Right.
Yeah, I think that one that you had there, Darren, would definitely strip those gears really quick, especially if your honey is already creamed.
Yeah.
I use it all the time, James. I've been using it.
Is your honey must be fairly warm?
Not really. It's room temperature. So I did a 9 pound batch in that 5 quart bowl. So.
Nice.
Well, now doesn't your machine have a half speed or something like that? I think
I don't have
1 to 9 or something is what mine's got.
I might try that using that attachment that Brian's using, that dough hook. So
mine's makes a difference.
Mine's more of a spiral, more so than a pirate hook.
Yeah.
The only one I've used so far was the whisk, the wire whisk one.
So
okay.
But a 9 pound batch, that's like you were saying, James. I think that's getting up there a little bit too much. I might want to keep that at like 5 or 6, or maybe.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it. It's a pain in the ass changing those gears.
And then Todd, I love my 18-gallon Lyson creamer. My only problem with it is, like, I bought it for that dual purpose as well, but you can't use it for the dual purpose simultaneously. So as I was making batches of creamed honey, I was wanting another bottling tank just to have liquid honey. Yeah. So I was like, look at me being all efficient, 2 for 1, 2 birds with 1 stone. And now I'm just like, well, now I need another bottling tank.
Well, I plan on just bottling first, and when I'm done bottling, I'm gonna set a quantity aside for creamed honey.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna bottle everything before that, and then when I get to the creamed honey, that's it. It's just creamed honey.
Gotcha.
And if I have to buy honey after that, it'll still be creamed honey. I can buy buckets around here for
look at it this way, Brian. You're going to the conference. I bet you there'd be a good deal on a creamer there, and with that canopy on your truck, you can get it home without even getting it wet.
Well, first, James, I got to do this. I got to put everything that I've already purchased in my truck, and then I got to see what space I have left. And that might determine what else is in the truck.
I haven't had
Bring a trailer.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to try it yet, but I bought it's actually made for brewing, but it has a heater that you can go from very low heat to up to higher than you want for honey. And it's got a spout on it, and I'm going to try, it's called Digiboil. I haven't had a chance yet after getting it, but I'm going to try that next year for bottling.
Okay.
because I can set it at like
So-
90 or 95 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, Lee, that's right.
So,
That's what I
Brian-
figure. Some people are going to
Should
be
work,
vending at
Morgan.
big conferences, so maybe by ABF they're going to be looking to get rid of any inventory they have left. So there might be some good deals down there. We'll see.
So Brian, you're going to, let me get this right straight. You're going to fill your truck with expensive honey equipment, and then you're going to drive down to New Orleans. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, well, I'll be staying at a hotel that has valet parking, so that's
And the valet will steal it.
yeah. They'll be stealing a lot of stuff they probably don't want.
You're
I'm
probably
about-
gonna want it. Hopefully your valet's not a
About
beekeeper.
65 miles north of New Orleans, you could probably, I got a storage unit you could put it in.
Thank you. But yeah, we were gonna both go to Kentucky, and then there's an organization called One Hive Foundation, and in November they put out a notice saying, like, it's a grant notice. You can apply on behalf of a nonprofit organization, and as long as you go to this one class, they'll send you money to go to ABF. So I applied for it, got it like 2 weeks later. And then we changed all of our plans. My wife was going to go to Kentucky with me, but we've always wanted to go to New Orleans, and she can't take both weeks off. So she's going to meet us in New Orleans so we can have.
Well, you got to have that front seat with that seatbelt to put that bottling tank there. Hold it in the seat.
Man, Charlie, you're no good for my marriage.
I was only a couple hours away from New Orleans, and if things would have went a little bit smoother, our plan was to head down there. But just with everything that went on down in Jackson, there, it just wasn't meant to be this trip.
And when you passed by Denver, I was heading south that very same day to meet my wife. So I didn't bother extending an invitation because I couldn't even accommodate it, James. But I would have loved to stop and see you for a couple of minutes. I know you were on the road and ready to go home, but that would have been cool to stop by.
You know, I'd mentioned to a few people out here, and I mean, I get it. Nobody wants to put their address and stuff like that out here over the internet and over the web, but it sure would be nice if somehow, we had a database that we could find out, because since I got back, I drove by probably 15 or 20 people that I've met via the YouTube channel here.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I wouldn't have been able to stop and see them all, but it sure would have been great to, even if you stop and had a cup of coffee or just stop and say hi or something.
Shake your hand.
That would have been great, right?
Yep.
The gold wingers used to have what they called the gold book. And it was a list of everybody that was a Gold Wing Road Rider member.
Yep.
You put your name in the back of that with your contact. And you also could put that you might have a trailer. If they broke down, you might have tools. You might have a place to park.
There you go.
We need to start us a bee book.
We need something like we seriously, we really do.
I know that Lee has a fair amount of addresses. I'm not sure how we all. I got a birthday card from him, and he does a lot of that kind of information on the chat.
Yeah.
Tonight. I think it could be doable.
Well, everybody kind of
James, we could open up a Google Sheets and then let have one person or two people moderate it and let only beekeepers access to it.
There you go. Anything like that would be great. I mean, Lord knows, I put a few miles on every now and then. You just never know where it might end up.
In fact, I can probably set that up.
It sounds cool.
And then we don't have to have our exact addresses. It can just be like the city, like Lakewood, Colorado, and then a contact information. And then
exactly
you contact that person.
Right, phone number.
Yeah, or email or something like that. Yeah.
So.
Right.
Hey, Brian, when you're down there, make sure you get some etouffee and some boudin.
That's the plan. Yep.
Boudin and cold beer.
So, Brian, you're going to ABF because of this certain class that you got money to go there. That was the main reason. Did you see anything else there? I've looked at it, and
back in just a minute.
I'll say this, Charlie. I'm really excited about the talks in Kentucky. You know, the vibe definitely feels different. It's an academic focused conference. There's less, I don't know if, well, no, there are hands-on beekeepers that are presenting, but it's a lot of academics presenting. It's my first time going to something like that. So,
And now a friend of mine, he had been to it quite a few times, and
yeah,
he said that like half of the first half of the day is, I'll say, classroom academics, and
yeah.
then the second afternoon was beekeepers actually demonstrating different types of techniques, I presume.
Okay. And I missed, you know, there's a Saturday Bee Lab tour at the Baton Rouge Bee Lab, and I wanted to sign up for that, but that sold out. So I didn't get to go to that. I don't know. There's, you know, I'm really interested in kind of pounding the pavement and talking to people about VSH. I'm going to get a breeder queen. I'm going to start doing the UBO assay. I'm going to start looking for and pushing genetics in my area with VSH. So a lot of my work the next 2 weeks is going to be like meeting Kara Wagner, talking to Corey Stevens, really just pounding the pavement and talking to these people and starting to make connections for a lot of the goals that I have this year. And this is all related to like the master beekeeping projects that I'm working on. It's all rolled into that. So I've been reading all about VSH. So honestly, Charlie, there's more VSH conversations for me to have in Kentucky based on the people and the speakers there than there is in New Orleans. But like I said last time, these conferences, when you go to them, you get out of them what you make out of it. And I have certain goals and people I want to talk to, and it's not necessarily about
I just
presentations.
yeah, I would like, you know, when you go to from ABF is to kind of come back and say, this is what you found with it. This is how the format, I'll say, it is.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Cause that's one thing with Kentucky and, you know, in the past years of Hive Life that, they didn't have the amount of vendors as Hive Life in Kentucky has. Most of the conferences that I have been to, and I've been to a few, and I start comparing. All right, Kentucky has your YouTube hands-on type speakers.
Yeah. Yep.
Now there's a lot of them in there this year that are not, or a little bit more than just that. Right. Like the UBO, which the gal that's got
Kara
that.
Wagner.
Yeah, she's going to be there.
Yep.
There's several other speakers that are going to be there.
Spivak, people like that.
Yeah, now that's one that I've not seen in person, you know, and things like that. And it's sort of it's starting to balance out a little bit between your professional college-based speakers versus your hands-on speakers. And where here in Maryland, we're going to have EAS 2024, and they got 4 speakers, and they're all college guys, you know, and they're all like past inspectors and people that worked in bee labs. And I'm like, well, that's great, but give me at least one person that does technique or hands-on, so I can take some type of information back.
Yeah.
And all that. I mean, it's in my back door, and it's like I'm not too excited about going to it. You know?
And that's why people like Greg Rogers are so appealing to folks like us, because they kind of bridge that relationship between the academic world and the real world beekeeping. Like his presentation is the results of, I think, his oxalic acid tests in collaboration with university folks. So it's, you know, it's talking to both groups and really making that connection. And I think that's really the key to success.
Yeah, like on Thursday, his OA extended release in North Carolina field trials.
Yep.
You know, that's really neat. And, you know, having somebody like Jose, queen bee in introduction and raising acceptance percentages and things, that's very helpful for everybody.
Yeah.
Especially
I want to hear all the studies. I want to read all the studies, but I want to see how those ideas and concepts are applied in the bee yard to make us better beekeepers and to have better bees. So I don't want to just read academic crap just for the sake of reading it. I want to read it so I can learn it and apply it to my skill sets. So that's what I'm spending the next 3 weeks doing. I'm not going on vacation. I'm going to have fun. We're going to eat food in New Orleans for sure. But I've got specific goals that I want to attain through these next 2 conferences that are going to set me up for the goals that I'm working on for this year. And that's what I'm talking about with James and his planning is like if you have a plan for the year, and my plans aren't set in stone, like I'm a flexible guy, I can work around them. But if I have a direction and I know what I want to accomplish, I can kind of take all those steps to get there. And that's why for me that backwards planning is so valuable. So
set a goal and then build your plan to obtain it.
Yeah. Yep.
And then
Brian, know where you want to go.
Right. He wants to know where you're doing the Master Beekeeper program.
My program is through the Colorado State Beekeeping Association. It's a new program. It's still building. In fact, we've just had like 1 person graduate through it. It's been building up through the program. So it's a little program, but I've loved it because it's given me an opportunity to meet other Colorado. Yeah. Thanks, Lee. Other Colorado beekeepers that are focused on growth as well. So it's a small program for sure. It doesn't have the stature of other programs, but
I think that's good because it's like I've noticed since talking to everybody on here and listening to everybody on here.
Yeah,
you take bits and pieces because what works here in Canada may not work in Florida. But there's parts of it that can, and parts of it that that guy's from Michigan. He's just up the road a little bit from me. So then I can listen to that. And it's more than somebody that's down in Louisiana because their weather's a lot different than here.
That's right. Yep.
Guys, I'm going to be signing off.
Night,
All right, Tom. Good to see you.
Have a good night, Tom.
Yeah,
Good night.
I'll see
Happy New
everybody
Year.
in Miami next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not Todd, but everybody else, maybe. All
right.
Right. Good night.
See ya.
All right.
See ya.
Happy New Year.
See you next week.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Maybe if Brian gets the wild itch, maybe he could swing by and pick me up.
There you go.
You get to Colorado by Tuesday. You can drive with me, Todd. How about that? That's my counter offer. I'll save that passenger seat for you.
Well,
He might have to hold a lysine creamer on his napkin coming home, but
kick me out when you get the lysine creamer. So then what am I going to do?
Yeah, we'll strap you to the roof.
Yeah, right.
So Todd, fly into Dallas. Get a flight to Dallas on Tuesday night, and then fly out on Sunday night.
Yeah. No, my whole thing is work. We're getting kind of crazy at work right now, so it kind of worked out that way anyway.
So.
Well, it's going to be fun. Charlie's happy because the weather's going to be clear. He was worried about driving in winter weather, so he doesn't have to stress about that anymore.
You guys don't get winter weather down there.
Heck, we haven't had but a dusting of snow all year yet. I went through hunting season and never even had to really put anything heavy on.
Yeah, well, like I say, I was riding my motorbike Boxing Day.
Boxing Day is the day after Christmas, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
And down there last year when I was driving from, so I landed in Atlanta and then I drove all up through the Smoky Mountains. And I'm going up through the Smoky Mountains and I'm filling up with gas. And of course, I got this rental vehicle. And everybody says, "Oh, where are you going?" "Oh, well, heading, here's where." "Oh, don't go through the Smoky Mountains this time of year." "No, absolutely not." You get up there and there's these big flashing lights and these barricades and everything. And travel at your own risk. And I'm thinking, this is a beautiful fall day. Yeah, I was the only one going through the whole pass. I never saw another vehicle. And I'm thinking, this is absolutely gorgeous. There's nobody around. Great, dry. The creeks were flowing. I'm thinking, where's the winter driving weather? In
What-
fact, I think I took a picture of it on my video camera and I put it on my YouTube channel because I just couldn't believe that this was dangerous winter driving weather. Don't go. And
Well,
the
it
pavement was
is to a
very
lot of
dry.
those tourists that are there.
I did get a good chuckle.
Yeah, I know that section you're talking about up there, James. That's kind of desolate up there too, isn't it? It gets you thinking when you see those lights flashing, and if something does happen, how long is it going to be before anybody would find me?
I wouldn't have cared. I was just walking down the road. This is great weather. Like, you got to remember, up here, I can drive 65 miles an hour and probably not see another town or village or anything for about 3 hours.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Charlie, I'm gonna get out of here. Little buddy
All right.
needs to go outside. So,
All right, Joe. I'll see you. I'll see you Wednesday night.
all righty.
All right.
Good night, y'all.
Night, Joey.
Yeah, and Dan says I need to cross Mount Strom in West Virginia. I'm not sure where that's at, but I'll check it out. The way I'm going is cross Maryland and go north up and then get into Ohio and go across that way.
You gonna come up? You gonna come over to Indianapolis at 65 and go down?
We're gonna stay in Dayton and then
My
go
daughter
straight
lives there.
and go straight down. It's about an hour, 2.5 hours south. So, and then I looked on I got the the email from my hotel that you can't check in till 4 o'clock. So I thought it was 3. And
I'd
It'll be
love to
3
see
your
Charlie
time.
come up to Winnipeg to pick up that hive lifter.
yeah,
February, I think, Doug, would be a good time, don't you?
I'm sure it's going to be cold up there.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm coming across 68 in Maryland and over. I'm not driving the PA Turnpike. I don't like that. 68 is a much better road. I'm also familiar with it, but that's my plans. I mean, I'm looking forward to it and seeing everybody and see how this new place checks out. Except for the evening things to do is I like that. Not like the new hours where they're not so early in the morning. It's 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, whatever it is. I like that idea of it.
That Thursday schedule threw me for a loop when I made all my plans. I didn't plan on being there that early for all those Thursday talks. I expected Thursday to be like the soft opening like it was last year.
Right.
So that was a little different than what I expected too.
All right. It's between Cumberland and McHenry. Okay.
Hey, Charlie, I gotta check out of here. I gotta go meet my oldest daughter. So,
Okay. All right, Todd.
Night, Todd.
good night, everyone. Have fun next week.
All right, thanks for coming on tonight. And
Yeah, you bet. Say hi to everybody for me next week.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get off here too, so I can get ready to get my grandson.
well, it's getting later. It's 10 o'clock here on the East Coast. So I mean,
I agree with Russell there. There's a
Y'all
lot
have a
of
good
people.
New Year's. Talk to you next year.
Have a good night, Morgan.
Later.
Happy
Bye.
New Year, everybody. I'm out of here too.
See you there.
See you down there.
Good night.
Utah
Hey, we're
B-Man.
dropping like flies.
I was going to say Utah B-Man, if it looks like they're going to the conference, if you see us, come and say hi, introduce yourself. You've been on here a couple of times. It'd be great to meet you.
yeah, there's 76 still on the thing here. I mean, everybody, I know Brian's going, I'm going, Phil's going. Yeah, if you see us, come and say hi to us. We all want to meet each other in person.
Yeah. Hey, Charlie, I'm going to get off here pretty quick because I need to get ready. I'm going to the farm, taking some bees before daylight tomorrow. But
Okay.
I would like to go ahead and plug Brian's bringing some stuff for Highs for Heroes for the raffle. So if anybody wants to bring, even if it's just a jar of your honey, just find me there and we'll bundle it all together and
Yeah,
give it away.
I can throw you a
And
pound
raise
of
some
honey
money.
in there for that. No problem at all.
Yeah, anybody listening, if you don't have to be a vendor there, just bring it and let's see how much money we can raise for Highs for Heroes. And bring 10 or 20 bucks in your pocket to buy some tickets and throw in the bucket too while you're there.
Philip, did you see those tapers in my basket?
Oh, those are nice, man. Those are sweet.
So that beeswax, so that wax melter, that's how I made them. I filled it with
Is it?
beeswax and I was dipping them in, and I've got a stick. So I was doing like 3 at a time, and then I had a racks and a dip in. It took a long time, but they
Wow,
came out really nice.
that's cool.
Oh, it made some long tapers.
Yeah, here, I'll show. I got a couple still here.
It's like candles,
Yeah,
I
show 'em
guess.
to us.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Right, so this
Yeah,
is
look
my
at
first, my
Yeah, he's got-
second attempt, my first good attempt. Let's put it that way.
that. Nice.
Yeah. So it's super easy. Just took a little setup, and it takes a lot of wax because I
Well
got to
done.
fill it to the top, you know. But this is what Jen wants to do, so it'll be a nice addition to our candles.
Oh,
And
those are
that's where you
beautiful.
just go
Yeah,
up and
those are
down,
really
up and down.
Yeah.
I seen that at one of those historical places, but they must have done it right, because yours is pretty much even the thickness. Theirs kind of tapered out on the bottom, kind of like a plum type of thing.
Yeah,
Well,
and you can do it different ways, and it helped to like when you start with the strings, you tie little like bolts to them to add a little weight. If you don't, the strings aren't gonna be too straight, so they'll be curved. And I've seen some people, as they're rolling them, will take 2 pieces of glass, put the candle on one piece of glass, cover it with another, and then roll it like that to get it nice and straight and smooth.
So are you doing that too?
No, too much work. These look nice. I like this.
Absolutely.
Dip and then decide when to stop. So
and it's got the original rustic look.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they will sell well. Yep.
Yep, nice and classic. Yeah. And like you said, James, we did really well during this holiday season. So well that it's encouraging me to do less summer events and just kind of backload my schedule with the holiday markets. We'll still do our farmers market and then 1 or 2 kind of rock star events, but
yeah,
I need more time in the bee yard this year. So yeah, they're my beeswax nunchucks, Lee. That's right.
Well, I know I'll definitely be spooling up for next year. Like I'm going to be doing things a little bit different come Christmas next year. So I'm going to start getting ready for Christmas probably about October, because yeah, there's just the way
you sold out of that cream honey like on a heartbeat.
Instantly. At the Christmas market, I ran out there. I made a bunch more. I thought I was good. Gone again. Made those little crates. Those things absolutely disappeared. Just all these little things that I never even thought of, right? But there is a price mark. There's a, and I haven't found that yet. And I think up here in Canada, it's right around the $50 mark. You know what? $50 they will spend on a gift. $55, I don't think they will. I'm still trying to play with that price mark a little bit there, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Oh, come on.
Philip, you shopping for anything in particular next week?
No, I mean, I've got the extractor, and I'm just kind of keeping an open mind about anything else, and hopefully I don't. I better not be, because, my wife and I just had a heart-to-heart about the taxes and how we're going to pay for the taxes this year. So there is no money to spend on anything extra.
Yeah.
But so I'll have to watch it a little bit. But who knows? There'll be some good deals there for sure.
Yeah. And a lot of what I'm buying is consumable stuff that I'm going to be using throughout the year anyway. I'm buying a bunch of beeswax from Bob Binney.
Okay.
Like global patties. I'm buying some jars from Man Lake, just that kind of stuff. I'll stock up on Apis Biologics, the stuff I'm going to use anyway throughout the year. I'm just going to try to stock up there.
Yeah, that's good.
And then 1 or 2
That's a good plan.
toys. I have 1 or 2 toys purchased as well.
Yeah, the Christmas hampers, Christmas crates, things like that, they go really, really well.
We bought a laser engraver. We're going to start making little custom gift boxes with like our logo and our name on the side, kind of like you see the ones Bob made. Make them really nice like that, and use those for our gift boxes next year. And then we'll make keychains with our logo. And hey, Robert, and like coasters with our logo, that kind of thing. So that was one of my unnecessary purchases for the year.
Yeah,
How's it
you've
going,
got a lot
Robert?
of different.
I think he's still working on it.
Who's that?
Robert.
Hey, this is just something my wife brought home, and I thought I'd share this. This is from. Can you guys hear me? I'm on my headset still.
We're
Sorry.
good.
I'm working in the shop, so I just ran in here to show you guys this. But anyway, she was at Hobby Lobby, and Hobby Lobby has these boxes for your guys' bulk sets. I don't know if it'd work for you or not, but they've got these little bee sets. They're pretty decent size. You can get about 4 jars in there if you're doing the smaller jars, but they're $3 a piece, I think. Let's see. No, they're less. They're $2.50 a piece. So it's $2.50 for a nice little, it's pretty sturdy little box.
Yeah, that's cute.
But just something she brought home. She was out shopping and she picked up a bunch of them. Thought that it says here they're normally $5. They're 50% off. So anyway, just something for you guys to think about. But not bad for a gift set.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, and now's probably the time you want to be looking to pick things like that up for next year, right? You know, just like that, 50% off.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money that you can save if you have that cash that you can put out right now and sit on for the year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Charlie,
Yeah,
I'm going to get off of here.
I went up today. I was hoping Bob would be on here because I promised him.
Good night, guys.
Night, Phil.
Night.
See ya.
I promised him that I would get my honey sales done or started. He was giving me grief the other night, so I drove up today and picked up 800 jars to start filling. So anyway, I thought I'd share that.
Cool.
Hey, Doug. I seen your watched your video, well, actually both of them, about your hive lifter and your. I was really interested with how you. I'm sure James was interested too on how you connected that slump and processing the honey out of your extractor. I don't think he must
lost him.
Lost him. Did you see that, James?
I haven't had a chance. I got it tagged. I haven't had a chance to go in and watch it yet.
Yeah, it's. Hey, Carl. I found it, well, for me, I mean, compared the way Ian has his setup with the spin float versus the way they've got the uncapper and the spinner dumping into a what do you call it, gravity tank?
Yeah.
And with the baffles, and then they pump it out of the center. The center part is where the two boxes filter through the things, and then it goes out to their settling tank.
Yep.
And stuff like that.
I got to take a look at it. I've got a couple of those tagged that I've got to go take a look at before I decide exactly how to build my sump.
Who popped out?
I think that was. I turned
Doug,
my camera off.
Yeah, Doug popped. Doug was the one. I forgot. His connection must not have been too good. So, but no, I found that interesting. I mean, I didn't understand how all that worked, but he did also say that the float tank would be better if it was heated.
Yep.
You know, and all that.
So I do have plans to make my my sump heated, and Alan's got a part of what he brings to the business is he's got a 300-gallon stainless steel heated dairy tank. So it's actually was cooled for the milk
tank.
Yeah, but you can reverse that, and then it becomes a heated tank. So that's going to be a great asset too. So I mean, you know, put
In your
300.
situation, that's exactly what you're needing.
Yeah, 300 gallons at a time in there, and you know, we can warm that up and then run it through the next day or the same day or whatever, you know, whatever we need. So we're setting ourselves up to have a really, I'm excited to have a really good, efficient operation here. Yep.
Yeah, well, that was like with Doug. There was that he pumped it over into that settling tank, as he called it, because it is heated too, just like your milk tank. And then the real super fine wax floats to the top, and of course he's pulling off the bottom.
Yep.
So it sounds like to me that honey is completely clean as far as any contaminants in his wax or whatever. And you know, he can fill barrels or fill his bottling tank, and he also refilters his bottling tank through a Maxant filter system. It's some type of a bag system. I've seen pictures of it. And he says it takes forever for that bag to actually get any fines in it, I guess you would say.
Yep. Yep.
So, no, it's interesting and all that. And
you know, I look at people like James and Todd and all you guys that are doing businesses where you're running so many more bees than me. And I wonder, do you guys have ambitions to go full time? Are you waiting for years of retirement? What's like, I look at people like you, James, and like, I think based on my experience, you're ready and your business would jump forward if you had time to put all of your energy into that. So if it's too much for me to ask, I understand, but I look at people like you and I think you're ready to go full time. Why not?
So if you go back to my original, I'm still trying to stick to my original plan.
Yeah.
So I've committed to 5 years to see where this is going to go. Now, I hit my 3-year goal at the end of year 1. I hit not quite. I've hit some of my 5-year goals here at the end of year 2, but you know, missing things like the extraction line and old enough to retire. So
to become a full-time beekeeper.
I was going to say that is the goal. I am fully intentionally on building my retirement job. That is exactly what I am doing. Yeah. So I have a really good job. You know, I get paid really, really well. As everybody knows, I had some health issues last year. So where I'm currently at, I have really, really good benefits. So I'm not going to risk that until I know my health and everything like that is good. But I'm going into year 3 of what I told myself I would do at least 5 years. So I'm going to carry on with the 5-year plan, and I'm going to see where I am at 5 years. But you're absolutely right. If I was to retire from my full-time job right now, I could definitely make a fairly decent living. I believe if I was to increase my hive numbers, I'd have to increase them substantially. But I think I would be successful in making a living at beekeeping right now. Waiting an extra 2 years, I've got nothing to lose.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks for sharing, James.
No worries.
You know, a lot of us look at each other and we're always looking for inspiration and kind of guidance, and you're definitely one of those guys that really thinks really clearly and forwardly about your business. And like I said before, I really appreciate that. That's what I like about Nathan's channel too at Duck River. I just, you know, I don't agree with everything he says, but I love his thinking through his business decisions, and I appreciate that.
But you know, with Nathan, I don't, you know, he keeps talking about what is going on?
So do I, Mike? Yeah, Robert's still got there. He's got his mic muted.
No, I was actually waiting to ask a question, but keep on going here.
Michael was asking, do I uncap and bottle other people's honey? Not last year. I did it all with a 12 frame spinner last year. However, we have discussed this. So as everybody knows, I mean, I brought a partner on. So I brought Alan on as a partner into my beekeeping business. And that is something that we have discussed. because there are a few beekeepers around here that don't have that equipment. They were using some of the commercial, the big commercial guys' equipment around here, and they were paying an astronomical price to do it. So it is something that we are going to look at, but we will only look at that after our harvest is complete. So.
Okay, I got a question for Brian here, the king of retail. All right, so I went up to the supply house today and bought bottles. And since I, in the past, have always just used mason jars, this is the first year I'm purchasing, let's call it honey or bee-made containers, if you want to say. So one of the biggest things I was surprised about is my mic terrible, guys?
No, we can hear you.
Okay, because I can take my headset off. I was in the shop here and I just.
You're good. Keep going.
Anyway, one of the things I was really surprised about was the size of the bottles, because even though they're all a pound, they look completely different. They had 7 different pound jars, and every one of them looked completely different in size. And I avoided the ones that looked the smallest, just because I think when people look at it, they're going to think that they're not getting their fill, right? So let me see if I can get this to switch around. I'll show you what I came up with, and I just want to get your comments on this.
Sure.
Get my ugly mug off here. Just a second. All right. So I'm in the process of gutting my entire shop here, from my garage, moving it to my shop. So I apologize with the mess. But anyway, if you look at the size of these containers, and I was trying to get
lift your phone up a little bit, Robert.
Okay,
yeah, there you go.
Hold on.
Yeah, just got to lift.
I think it's
lift the phone.
Oh, I know why, because I'm still
There
in
you
the
go.
camera setting.
That's perfect.
That's why. Okay. So if you look at these bottles, these last 3, let me see if I can get something behind them without breaking them.
We can see them.
Yeah, we can see the different types.
Those are all 1 pound.
Yeah,
Okay.
the center one's a Muth jar, which is more hoity-toity,
glass.
I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the volumes in the glass, I guess, because
That's not
it looks
that's
like
not
it's
the
twice
issue
the
here.
size.
You're missing the issue. The issue is looks. The issue is pretty.
Yeah, I bought these because there's going to a wine. I got 2 different wineries I'm set up with now.
Exactly.
And-
That's what they go to.
Yeah, so those are going to the winery. So that's what that's specifically for. I thought I could get a little bit more money out of this. In my area, a pound's going for about $10. But I thought at the winery I might ask $14 for this, because this bottle alone's $2.
I go 15.
That's actually what the supply house suggested. They said they'd go 15 or 16. I was like, geez, they said they're selling it up in Cleveland for $20 for this bottle.
So Robert, what's your question?
So I'm trying to decide what I want to send to I bought 800 bottles today, and I'm trying to decide exactly a price point and also what I should send to the winery. I'm going to send 2 to the winery, so I'm thinking this guy here for sure. That's why I bought it. But once again, I'm going to have to charge a little more money for this because it's $2 for the bottle. This guy here is only $1 for the bottle. And then they had these small 8-ounce ones, or they're 12-ounce liquid, right? So they're a 3/4 pound jar. But I was just trying to figure out a price. If we're talking $10 a pound in our area, was that 70 cents a pound or 70 cents a ounce? Is that right? I can't remember the math.
Doesn't matter.
But this jar here is plastic. This cost about 46 cents. This one cost $1. This one cost $2. They all house the same amount of honey. What price point do you get set on? Like this one, $10 a pound includes the jar around here, right? So when you're doing plastic like that, you're going to have to assume that that's $10. That's what my assumption is.
So I think you're doing it wrong, Robert. Here's what my suggestion would be, and here's how I market my honey. Your honey cost is a honey cost, regardless as to what container it's in. You know,
Sure.
if you're getting $10 a pound and each one of those holds a pound of honey, then you have $10 worth of honey. Put your jar cost on top of that with a percentage of markup. You never spend money without making money. So put your, you know, if you want to make 10 cents on the dollar, the one jar you spent $1 on, it's now worth $1.10 plus your lid plus your label. And as far as which ones I would send to the winery, I would send them all and see which ones sold the best, and then kind of that's going to give you your answer. Now, you might not want to put the plastic jar at the winery.
No,
Well,
this is not for the winery. This is actually going to be hot honeys and stuff like that. So
right. So take that one out and know your market. So your market at the winery, if I'm reading you correctly, your market at the winery is a little bit of a higher class market. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's what I would assume.
Then give them the higher class bottles. Here's one thing you don't want to do. You do not want to have your honey in the same bottle at different prices at different stores. That will get around, that will get known, and that will absolutely crush you. Set your price per honey, whatever that is, whatever you want for it. Add in your additional costs and sell it for that. And everyone, if you lose me, my battery is same as Brian. My battery has died. However, I can't plug my iPad in because I'm busy charging my drone. So, but that would be my recommendation. Set your price for your honey, add in your additional costs, and that's going to tell you what your price point is.
I want to add to that as well, but I want to start with some questions, Robert. Have you been selling to your community for a while? Is this new for you?
Well, in a real bottle, yes, that's new to me. And in the past, like my volume this year is a lot more than what I had last year. So this year,
is
my
your
volume.
first time with a lot of honey to move.
Exactly. Yeah. In past years, I had about a quarter of the amount that I had this year, maybe half.
Yeah.
But I had saved my honey this year because I thought I was all going to one sale. So I was kind of set up with an organization, and
I remember, you're talking buckets.
No, not buckets. This was going to be there was an organization that does these annual sales, and I was going to provide honey for the sale as a fundraiser.
Okay.
And we were going to do a percentage, and they would have sold all the honey that I produced this year. So I was holding it, but then at the end, right when we were supposed to be doing it, it got kind of shot down because it wasn't done in a certified kitchen, and they didn't know what kind of regulations we would run into, and they just didn't want to go forward until I was able to have like a certified kitchen.
So selling honey for you is new.
No, not
selling honey in jars.
It's been friends and family and stuff like that, but I don't do bulk sales usually like this. I have 1,500 pounds this year.
One thing I would recommend is, first of all, just kind of pounding the pavement and learning the market that's out there already. Going to stores like the winery, coffee shops are gonna have honey in there already. Kind of go and see what the going prices are in your market. That's why I really encourage people to try markets and events, just so you can get that immediate feedback from your customers. Like I can go to one market one day and charge $12 and go to a different town and charge a different price just to try it out and see. And I think interacting with your customers on that regular basis can really help you kind of get a feel for what the customer will pay, what they will bear. And I think you're thinking about the wineries is right. You're going to get a better price at a winery. So thinking about a better product. But I want to encourage you to think about your business and like, do you have a label? Do you have a name for a business? Do you have a brand?
Yeah, so if I have the labels, I have the brand and everything. I have custom labels being made right now. So I'm waiting for those to come back.
And I think part of what's important as you get your brand out there is consistency. You kind of want to pick a jar and be consistent with it. So when people see it, they're going to recognize it and recognize you. So before we even started honey, we spent hours just going to places and looking at other people selling honey to look at the shape of the jars, to look at their labels, to look at their colors, and come up with a game plan. This is how we want to present our honey. This is like we wanted to market it top shelf. We wanted to charge top shelf prices and make it look really nice. So we put a lot of time into the beginning of how we wanted to sell honey before we started selling honey. And we changed it a lot as we went.
And to build on that,
yeah,
this is top shelf honey.
Yeah, that's right.
Everything that we make is top shelf honey. It's not blended. It's local. You put a lot of work and everything into it. So price your honey as top shelf honey. I don't go to the store and see what Bee Made is selling their honey for at the store, because I strongly believe and feel, I have nothing against Bee Made, and I'm probably going to be selling to Bee Made here in this next year. But I strongly believe that my honey here is all local honey, and it's worth more because it is all right from here. So price your honey as top shelf honey.
Yeah, I went to all the markets this year, and I've looked at their bottles. I've looked at labeling. I've looked at what the average cost is. But one of the things that kind of caught me off guard this last week is all the markets around here, the farmers market, are all selling their honey for $10 a pound. Almost every single market I go to, it's $10 a pound around here. However, the local Kroger, I was there this last week, and whenever time I'm in there, I kind of just peek at the honey. They're now selling what they're calling local Ohio honey, which is nowhere near local, but they're now selling it for $10.69 a pound at the grocery store. So that made me think that, are these people that are at these markets underpricing themselves? If they're getting that price, if they're getting more at the market, at the grocery store, are these markets underselling themselves?
Because I believe they are. I really think they are. And what's probably happened is you probably had one or two individuals come in there and wanted to undercut everybody else. That happens here all the time. You see it on Facebook, you see it at the markets, and what they're selling their honey for is well below mine. And they're like, well, why is your honey so much better? Well, because I give them every reason. Here, taste my honey, and here's every reason. And then they go across and they'll buy the honey from the other individual. Well, lo and behold, I can't get honey out of there anymore. Can you get some of mine? Absolutely, you can. And then they start getting honey, and because you have that and that supply, you build that rapport. And here's the other thing I'm going to put out there to anybody that's selling honey. Your customer service will sell as much honey as your product.
Yep.
Make sure that customer service is there. Talk to your customer. Have them get to know your customer. That customer sales relationship, especially at the local markets and here, it is a personal connection. Get to know them.
Hey, Carl.
Hi, guys.
There's a guy here in Colorado that's a pretty big beekeeper, but he hires these college kids to go to every market. And at first I was like, oh, they're going to be there. I can't compete with them. But then I learned really quickly that relationship that James is talking about is really important to that customer who wants local honey. So I'm the beekeeper. I can tell you where this honey came from. I can tell you when I spun it out. I can tell you the microns on the filter I used to put it in the jar. Whereas the other person selling honey, they're not a beekeeper, but they really like bees and they want to be one time. And once I figured that out, I was like, oh, I can compete with these people. I don't have to worry about it because like James is saying, you're selling that expertise. You're selling the relationship with a local beekeeper. And that's what a lot of people are looking for, is that local honey. And again, it's about placing the value on yourself, on your work, and on your skill set. And that honey in a jar is an artifact of that skill set. So Yeah.
And it's a simple, make it personal. So as you're handing them the jar because you're going to buy them, it's something as simple as, did you know that a bee has to, visit 1 million blossoms to make an ounce of honey? Little things like that is what makes that personal connection. And don't underestimate that. That is a powerful, powerful tool.
Hey, Carl.
How you doing, guys?
Good.
Oh, I'm
I don't have
getting
a problem with that. James is absolutely right. If they walk across the aisle and they buy off somebody else, that's perfectly fine. But the fact of the matter is you are producing a good quality product and stand behind it 100%.
don't discount it.
Yeah, I won't. If there's somebody selling for $2 less, and I tell them, I say, why don't you try mine? Here's a taste. Here's my creamed honeys. Do they have that over there? Most of the time, not. And a lot of times when you start getting to taste it, they're going to be also conversating with you, and you can carry it to the next level. And they'll buy from you just because of that conversation and taking it to the next level, to be honest with you. I mean, it sells itself. It sells itself.
It's a powerful tool. Charlie, I got to bow out. My computer is it's blinking here, and now it's beeping in my headphones. So I'm going to lose you.
I'm going to be James. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody. And if I'll try to get on here. Everybody have fun at the conference, and I'll be looking for videos as we go along through that, because I won't be there this year. So enjoy, everyone.
Anybody know about a master beekeeper program that's totally online?
Yeah, I just put that in the chat. I think University of Montana and Florida are both online programs.
Yeah, I know one of my members, she's on my board. She's doing the Florida one. She did have to do some, depending on what level you are, like some hands-on time that she went up to Penn. She's from Pennsylvania. So she went to Penn State and did some, I don't know, behind the scenes work about it or whatever it was. It's a little pricey too, isn't it? I don't know. Somebody told me it's a little pricey, the Florida. Yeah, all of them are. Yeah. Personally, I don't know. Yeah, I don't need a piece of paper to prove anything to somebody. If you learn it in that's the main thing, and which I'm still learning, and I'm looking to, I'm getting to the time now where I'm going to be able to have a couple minutes to read some more books and that. So I'm going to get into some books, It always helps. So not like Brian, who's getting into the whole genetics and everything else over there. Yeah, you're going to the conference. You're going to spend a lot more than you think.
One more thing on those bottles real quick. Would you put in the shop, would you put the 8 ounce in the 16 or the 2 16s?
I only do 16s. I don't even mess with the 8s anymore. The creamed honey I do in 12s, and I stick to it. I don't want to be dealing with it. I was doing 2-pounders, and I'll be honest with you, at the rate that we're selling in that, the way we're selling 1-pounders in that, I'll just sell it 1-pounders. Because if you sell a 2-pounder, well, I'm buying it in bulk. Do I get a discount?
This is the winery, so I can put in the 2 jars. But I was just wondering, should I put in the Queen line in the Muth, or should I put on the 8 ounce in the Muth?
You need a woman in your life just to tell you what to do, Robert. This is one of these. Just pick it and move forward, man.
Yep.
You're being
indecisive. If the winery, put the Muth jar in there for fanciness.
Yeah.
And maybe the Queen line, and that's it. Or if that 8 ounce thing, it looked like to me that was more for combed honey than anything else.
There was
just
stick to one.
It's got embossed comb.
Yeah,
that's nice. And
that's
there's
nice. That one, put that in the Muth jar in there for the same price and be done with it.
And I would just pick one.
This is only 8 ounce. That's only an 8 ounce, and that's why I was wondering, like, should I put a?
I think if that's only 8 ounce, go with the Muth jar and be done with it.
Just pick one, man.
Just stick the Muth jar in there. Put a nice little bow ribbon around it and seal it. Do like
that's what I'm gonna do. Like
Bruce down there.
Beeswax dip.
Put some wax around the thing, and that's it.
And charge top dollar. And if they don't sell, you learned from it and you didn't lose anything.
Yeah.
So you think I should go with the higher version, like I said, the lady at the supply house said I should be charging at least 16 for it. She said they're getting 20 in their area. But
that's always been my business.
That's
always been my angle, Robert, is package something top shelf, spend a little extra on packaging, and pass that cost on to the customer, like James was talking about. And your product is going to stand out above others if you put that extra time into it. Yeah, it's going to cost more money, and not as many people are going to buy it. But I think it's going to be worth it for your brand if that's the way you want to go. That's worked for us. It's helped us charge top dollar and really maximize the income we make from the honey and the other products that we make.
Yeah, I would definitely put the $15 at least on it and just stick with it. You're at a winery, you're at a classy place. Even if you do the 16, like Brian said, if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. You pull it and you redo it. That's it.
Are you wholesaling this to the winery, Robert?
So I've been talking with 2 wineries and a coffee shop, and two coffee shops and 2 wineries actually, and they all of them have asked me to put honey in their stores.
All right, we'll do
and
it.
The thing is I have not, we haven't worked out the financial side of it completely, but all of them are a little bit different. But 2 of them just want me just to put it there, and they want me to put Venmo on it. And I'm not sure that's the way I want to go about that, because then you're more of an honor system, right?
I look at it this way. You go in there with a case of honey. All right, shopkeeper, this is the price for the case. You sell it. Whatever you want to mark it up on, go for it.
Well, that's what I was expecting them to say, but like I said, 2 of them asked me to put a little sign in front of it with a Venmo on it so they can pay me directly. And I was like,
good luck with that.
I was going to say, that didn't sound like a very good option. That just seems like an honor system to me.
Like Charles said, walk in, hand them something, they hand something to you, you're out the door.
You're done.
And I would say set your wholesale prices. They'll probably give you a quote, but I would say this is what I do. Even if you've never done it before, act like you have and say, this is what I do. And if you can
go in there and say $12 a bottle is what your price is wholesale.
Decide beforehand.
They sell it for 15. Everybody makes money and you're done.
So if they're going to offer you 40% of your retail, are you going to be happy with that?
No.
Well, it depends on what they're selling it for. I mean, to be honest, that's the reality.
That's not it.
But you've got to go in and say, this is my suggested retail price. This is what I sell this for. That's what I would do, Robert. Act like you know what your prices are, and because you're going to get pushed around, and they're going to say, this is how we do it. If you don't tell them this is how you do it, and this is stuff I've learned from experience.
They wanted me to just do it. Like I said, 2 of them said that they just wanted me to put a Venmo with it, and I was like,
because they don't want to pay you for it.
What's that?
They don't want to pay you for it.
Yeah.
Well, they don't.
You want to have the money in your hand?
You can have all the profits. Just put a Venmo on it and take care of it. But I'm like, that problem with that is that becomes a honor system.
That's pretty much what it is. That's what they're asking you to do. So walk in, drop it, and go. Even Brad's in the chat, and Brad's saying the same thing. You recommend what you tell them you should sell it for so they can make a couple bucks. You walk in, you drop it, you're gone. You drop a case of 12 or 24 or 36, 3 cases. You walk it, they pay you, they make a couple bucks, and you're out the door, and it's done and over with.
So I
do what me and Brian are doing. Go to craft fairs, go to shows, sell it straight out of your own, off your own stand, and you get 100% of the markup yourself. But then you have the time of doing it yourself.
Yeah, I'm going to try to move more towards the retail, because next year I'll probably be looking a minimum of 3,600 pounds. I should have got 3,600 this year. So I could be, if I end up increasing my hive counts, which I'm planning to do, I'm trying to be up to at least 75 next year.
Remember, you're dealing with something called livestock pretty much.
Oh, I know.
And Mother Nature.
I had 42 the year before and went down to 36 before winter and came out with 18. So, yeah, I'm totally familiar with that story. But this year I put to bed 44, and I'm hoping next year I'll be, if everything goes well. I was out there yesterday, and every colony's doing good. And so right now I have 44, but that doesn't mean anything. Most of them died in February last year or March. But anyway, the thought still remains, if I end up with anywhere between 50 and 75 next year, I'm going to end up with 3,000 to 5,000 pounds of honey. And I don't think I can peddle that kind of volume on my own. I need some assistance. That's what I'm kind of trying to get into. I know I talked to the winery. They want to do some infused honeys in their wines. I talked to a local brew house. They talked to me about doing, selling for mead. The problem with those guys is they want it really cheap, and I don't think that's going to work. But in general, though, I'm trying to figure out a way as volumes increase that I can move more volume rather than more transactions. Because I don't think I can do 5,000 transactions.
One of the two.
What's that?
It's either wholesale or retail. One of the two.
Yeah.
They come to him and they ask him to do wholesale. He said, "I don't do that. It's all retail." They come to me. I don't wholesale my honey. I had a lady coming in. She was wanting to buy it by the cases. I didn't have that volume, and they are looking for wholesale.
I think I'm trying to do more, and this may be understating what Brad does, because Brad has a pretty successful business going on there. But I'm thinking more towards what Brad's doing in the respect of more commercial clients, more retail, more
doing just what I told you, Dad. He goes to those stores. He sells it at this. In your case, he's going to sell the Muth bottle to the store for $12, and they're going to turn around and sell it to the walk-in customer for $15. They're making $3. You're making $12. You got your cost of your product, your bottling, and all this other stuff.
Now, this is adding to what James said earlier. If you go into a store and you say, I guess I'm asking this maybe, and I don't see the comments, so I apologize. This is a question towards Brad. Maybe somebody can relay this. But if you go into a place, can you say, look, you need to sell this bottle for $16. If I take this Muth jar because I've got it at another place for $16, because James was just saying you can't put it in two different places with two different prices. It will destroy your market.
You do what Brian said. You suggest.
Yep.
You can't tell them what to do. That's kind of illegal.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So Brad's got in the comments, tell them I sell this for $10. Your price is $6.50. 30-day terms on invoice, 12 units into the case. That's kind of the way I do it. I sell some honey through a CSA here. He's a great guy. And I told him, look, I sell this jar for $12. You can have it for $8. 75% is typically my wholesale price. I'll negotiate that. If I feel like I'm starting a relationship, that might help me out in other ways. But 75% is what I do. Now, he took that jar and sold it for like $13 or $14 each. I personally don't care. If he can get more for that at his market, that's okay. My name is still getting out to a new customer. I get what James is saying, but the fact is, you go into grocery stores and things aren't all the same price if it's the same product.
Yeah,
and here's
these
another number.
Wineries are only 3 or 4 miles apart, so that's my only concern.
You leave it up to them. And here's another number: is anybody who's in retail and sell stuff, there's a magic number, like Brian just said. His number was 25%. The magic number, most places that are productive and make money, the number is 28% markup. That's the number.
Yeah.
If you are selling for less than 28%, you better be a real tight operation with very few employees, and that's how you can get by. You have to make 28%. By the time you order it, you pay the invoice. By the time somebody handles it in your facility, by the time it goes out of your facility, through the front door being sold, you better be making 28%, or else by the end of the day, you're losing money and you're going to be out of business in a year or two.
Yeah, I know a couple guys last week were saying they were doing a 70-30 split. I think I was Tom and somebody else.
I think so too.
They say the magic number is 28. Now, like Brian said, 25, but you got to remember something, Brian. If he's getting 25, he's doing very well. There's Brian and his wife running a very tight operation. So if they're getting 25, they're doing very good. Same thing as me. It's me and my wife. We get 25, we're doing very good. We're doing the procedure and everything else. If you get 25, you're doing good. If you're making less, you're going to lose money.
Yeah, with me, I don't do any of those fairs or organizations or anything. Luckily, I have you might say, a storefront with the Sawmill with an office. and I have people coming here not just to buy lumber, but they'll come here just to buy honey, or they're going to buy lumber and they're going to buy a bottle of honey, because I'm going to sit here and bullshit with them about it and what I'm doing with my bees or my YouTube channel. Oh, you sell honey? I had a guy today. Yeah, I says, yeah, you want to? Yeah, let me buy a pound. You know, that was something that I was trying to get across to Alex. You got to talk to people, and you know, to date 1,100 pounds of honey have sold. You know, and I didn't go nowhere. So
yeah, I've talked to a couple other guys around here. They're all out of honey, so I kind of felt that may put me in a better position because
of course, just like Bob Walker says, let them all sell their honey for a little bit of nothing, and then wait. And okay, I got the honey. It's $12 a pound.
You know, the funny thing is there's like 6 different little shops around here, and nobody has honey in any of them. And everyone I talked to, they were more than happy.
Bang on the damn door.
Yeah, well, I know the owner, so it's not a big deal. Like all I did was bring it up. And they're like, oh yeah, please bring it in. I was like, okay.
No what problem. Are you waiting for?
Yeah. Well, I was waiting for bottles for one, and my labels come in. So the labels were ordered.
You haven't started to sell anything, and it's time to jump in and go with it.
Hey, I told Bob I'd work on it this week, so I've done my part. I bought bottles this week, and I got labels ordered. So
yeah, but it's not going in Bob's pocket. So what the hell's the difference?
Well, I'm just saying he was giving me shit last week on the stream. He was giving.
Well, you deserve it. I hate to say it.
He was backing over me with the truck, and I just was bringing.
He was bulldozing you. He wasn't backing over you. He was bulldozing you.
He didn't even show up to get my progress, man. I don't understand.
From what I understand, Bob's fighting a pretty good cold right now. So
that's right. I figured he's sick.
The guy brings a gun to a knife fight and then doesn't even show up to the duel.
Now you got to get it out there. And
all I can tell you, Robert, is get there. You got your bottles. Fill your bottles.
Let's get some product in the bottles.
I bought a commercial. I bought a commercial warmer.
You don't need to buy anything.
Hey, Carl. I bought a commercial warmer. Maybe you can answer this. It looks like a stainless steel refrigerator, but it's a commercial food warmer.
Yeah.
And the guy that I bought it from says it goes from 0 to 180. But do you think that thing can hold? I also have that Inkbird or whatever it's called. I was going to put in line in case it goes too hot. But do you think that food warmer will hold in the 95 to 105 range?
Well, it matters what you're talking about. For food warmer, there's like 50 different brands out there and there are 50 different styles. I mean, is it a water bath? Is it a oven style? What type of?
It's an oven style. It looks like a stainless steel refrigerator.
The first thing I tell you to do is test the son of a bitch. Number one, and number two is I would take and I would start really low and just torque it a little bit until you get a good get it to where you know that your honey is runny and that, and then start bottling. But
you just keep it at 95 degrees.
And here's the other thing is, if it's used, that's why I'm saying take your time and watch it and make sure it's functioning perfectly, because if not, you're going to have one hell of a mess if you walk away and it's not functioning properly.
Yeah, I bought the Inkbird because I was going to build my own with I had an old refrigerator, stainless steel refrigerator, and I was going to build them up with just a heat lamp and a fan. But then this thing came available, and it was I thought it was extremely reasonable for the price. This is a commercial piece of equipment, and I'm getting a really good deal. So I was like, hell, I'm going to buy this thing, and then just put the Inkbird in line, the controller. That way, if this thing goes over temperature, it'll just shut the power down.
Yeah, be cautious about it. And I'm going to tell you something about commercial equipment today, too. Don't look at it and say it's something commercial and just buy it, because there's a lot of garbage out there, a lot of garbage. I mean, you could buy something like you're talking a warming cabinet and spend $500 for it, and you could spend $5,000 for it. There's good, there's terrible, there's Chinese built, there's garbage. There's more garbage out in the market than there is good, believe me. So
I was just wondering, in general, those warmers, do they maintain lower temperatures like that? Because if it says on the dial 0 to 180,
take it any which way you want, but like I said, you don't know where it's been and what it was used for, and you don't know who was in there playing with it. Just make sure you test your product and make sure that you're controlling it, because you can get screwed over bad. And if you put a pail in there and you're going to set it like Charles said at 95, you put a pail in there, it's not going to hurt a pail on that. If you let it in there overnight, it should come out perfect. But the problem is, if the first time you use it, or if you find out that somebody messed with it, you put a pail in there, you might come back to a glob.
Yeah, that's why I'm putting that inline controller. I want to make sure it can't go beyond the set point regardless, because I'm not going to risk damaging a barrel of honey or a bucket of honey over it. This thing will fit 2 or 3 buckets in it, which is nice.
You lose a pail of honey, that's a lot of money, number one, and it's one hell of a mess.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
but no, I thought that was a pretty interesting investment there. I'm not sure my wife thought it was as interesting as I did, but no, it was pretty good. I mean, pretty cost effective for what I was going to do anyway.
Yeah.
So
hope it works
all
out
right,
good.
You got 2 weeks to sell a case of honey, Robert.
Hey, as soon as my labels come in, I talked to them today, and they said that their guy that does the labels, he's out until after New Year. So I may not see my labels back until the first week of January.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
But
When we get
second
back
week of
from
January,
Nobby,
we'll be
when
talking.
we get back from Nobby, I'll expect to hear that you've sold a dozen bottles of honey.
Well, I'm hoping that, like I said, I just got to go into these stores and get some negotiations done, because, like I said, I know all the owners and stuff, and one of them is the one I get all my buckets from. And like I said, the only thing is the winery is on a cottage food, and I think that's why they want me to Venmo it, because they're already running on a cottage food license.
I don't know anything about that. So, all right, it's 11 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and shut the stream down, and it's been great. Been going for 3 hours. Had a lot of great people on here tonight. Obviously, none of us are going to be here on next Friday night because we're all going to be in Kentucky.
Not me.
And we'll see you the following week after that. So that's all. So we're going to go ahead and shut the stream down.